Chapter 1005. Because Dongbo Shuiying had created the 10th transformation of the Cinnabar inheritance, this thin small old man was able to sense it. The thin small old man was also used to this feeling. But at this moment, the feeling disappeared. Disappeared? The thin small old man was clear of what this meant. Hence he felt his heart turning cold. How could this be? The thin small old man watched from afar. Many scenes appeared in his eyes. Sacred Master waved his hand and destroyed the fleshy body of Dongbo Shuiying. Dongbo Shuiying's aura dissipating, and his fleshy body sitting in that palace hall in the ancient sacred world. Dongbo Shuiying drinking wine and chatting with Sacred Master. Sacred Master capturing Dongbo Shuiying alive. Many scenes appeared. Even if Sacred Master was present, the thin small old man could similarly see through it. He actually dared. He dared to kill my disciple. The eyes of the thin small old man emitted a terrifying killing intent. Hong, an incomparably horrifying black aura burst out from the surface of the thin small old man's body. It engulfed the entire God Throne Peak, causing this ancient and mysterious God Throne Peak to tremble. Even though he had not accepted a disciple, he had already decided to take Dongbo Shuiying as his disciple. Hua! The walking stick in the hands of the thin small old man disappeared. He took a step before disappearing from the place. When he appeared again, he was at the core of the ancient sacred world, right in front of that towering palace hall. The ancient sacred world was protected by the ancient sacred incarnation. The ancient sacred incarnation was practically one entity with the ancient sacred world. Here, Sacred Master was practically unparalleled. Even though Sacred Master had fought with the Cosmos Gods several times, the Cosmos Gods had never dared to kill their way into the ancient sacred world. And today, this thin small old man stood in midair outside the core sacred palace hall of the ancient sacred world. Young devil, scram out for me. The thin small old man roared out. Hong! A terrifying ripple rushed out from the mouth of the thin small old man. It could be seen with the naked eye charging at the distant sacred palace hall. The sacred palace had stood for a long time and was incredibly firm. But at this moment it suddenly shattered. Furthermore, the surrounding area spanning a few 100 billion kilometers was warped and distorted, forming many cracks. An unseen energy pervaded out, forcefully stabilizing the ancient sacred world. Otherwise, just this roar alone would cause the ancient sacred world to shatter. Phew! The Holy Lord, who was draped in a black robe, walked out from the explosion. He didn't even have the time to protect the other servants. He only protected Lord Jiaming. He waved his hand and teleported Lord Jiaming away. He frowned as he looked at the skinny old man outside. Old Monster Stone, why aren't you sleeping on the original Sun Star? What are you doing here? Holy Leader frowned. Even though he had been attacked to the point where his base had been destroyed, the Divine Master was still unwilling to make a move despite his temperament. He wanted to keep the peace because he knew how terrifying the skinny old man before him was. What am I doing here? The skinny old man's body was surrounded by black chi, and his eyes were glowing with a dark yellow light. In the midst of the rolling black chi, the dark yellow light that shot out from his eyes was very eye-catching. He said in a low voice, "Little Mo, I'm too lazy to deal with you. I didn't expect you to dare to kill my disciple." Kill your disciple? Don't you only have 3 disciples, Jianghu and the other 2? The Holy Lord was puzzled. Dongbo Shuiying. The skinny old man shouted angrily. He's your disciple? Holy Leader's expression changed. He has reached the 10th transformation of Cinnabar's legacy. Can't you tell? The skinny old man gritted his teeth. Although he had decided to take Dongbo Shuiying as his disciple, he had not actually taken him in. Hence, when the Holy Lord faced Dongbo Shuiying, he did not notice anything special. As for Cinnabar's legacy, the Black Emperor had spread the legacy of the 4 extremities, and there were many who had learned it. Those people did not have the qualifications to be called Old Monster Stone's disciples. Although I feel that this disciple of mine is a little foolish, too kind, and makes himself too tired. If it were me, I would definitely not be so tired. However, I am very satisfied with this disciple of mine. The skinny old man growled, "Little Mo, you've killed him. Very good. Let me see just how strong you've become, Little Mo. Don't go crazy." Holy Leader's expression changed. An incomparably huge black illusory figure appeared behind the skinny old man. The black illusory figure had a huge turtle shell, and its entire body was covered with stone-like scales. It also had a ferocious head. At this moment, Old Monster Stone was filled with rage. That little fellow had only cultivated for a short period of time. He had not even had the chance to show his strength in front of his disciple, and had taken the initiative to take him in as a disciple. He had died just like that. He was filled with rage and he wanted to vent it out. He wanted to take revenge for his disciple. Hong Long Long, a completely black ancient sage incarnation appeared, and instantly merged with the holy leader. Clearly, when facing this crazy old monster stone, the holy leader had to use his full strength. He knew that if he didn't use his full strength he might really be killed. The holy leader felt bitter in his heart. He had captured Dongbo Shuang alive and prepared good wine for him. However, in the end it was all for naught. That Dongbo Shuang would rather die than agree to his request. If he died, so be it. Although the holy leader was furious, the past was the past. It was just that the terrifying old monster stone had appeared. The holy leader was clear that in the entire primal chaos void, there was only one person that truly gave him a headache. It was this old monster stone who was always in deep slumber. From the birth of the primitive ancient sacred world to the destruction of the primal chaos void, old monster stone might have only woken up a few times. The rest of the time he would be in deep slumber. However, the person that the holy leader feared the most was this old monster stone. For example, the myriad realm tavern master, Mount Chai-mei, and the mysterious and unfathomable Lord Lo Qing. In the holy leader's heart, the degree of threat they posed was not as high as this old monster stone. But now old monster stone was clearly enraged. Regret, bitterness, helplessness. No matter how unwilling the holy leader was, he could only fight with his full strength. He did not wish to be beaten to death due to carelessness. At this moment, in the Great Void Heaven Temple, Forefather Tianyu, the Sword Master, and the Void Primogenitor had met up. The Void Primogenitor had also obtained the storage bracelet. Snow Eagle also said that this secret technique cannot be taught to outsiders. The ones that he truly trusts are the three of us. Forefather Tianyu said, "The Sword Master and I have seen it. However, we do not have much research on the Void. We will not be able to learn it in a short period of time." The Void Primogenitor held onto the bracelet with a sorrowful heart. How deep was his attainment in the Void? With just a single look he was able to learn it. This destructive realm teleportation technique had opened another door for him to study the Void. However, at this moment he did not feel any joy. He only felt sorrow and sorrow. Disciple Guqi, Master is useless. I was unable to protect you. Now your disciple Dongbo Shuang has died in the hands of the holy leader. The Void Primogenitor was filled with hatred. As a martial ancestor, I am useless. Useless? I swear that even if I have to risk my life, I will kill the holy leader. No matter what, no matter what. The Void Primogenitor had always loved the masses. He was enraged that the holy leader controlled the masses. Now, his disciple and most outstanding disciple had died in the hands of the holy leader. There's no time to lose. We cannot let Snow Eagle's efforts go to waste. The Void Primogenitor said in a low voice, "This secret technique cannot be taught to outsiders. However, we should still get Wu Zhu, Blade Emperor, and the others to come over. We should immediately destroy the 3 golden armored graded layers that Snow Eagle has discovered." Forefather Tianyu and the Sword Master nodded. Chapter 1006. Very soon Wu Zhu, Jiezu, Blade Emperor and the others received the news. All of them were shocked. They were shocked that the little fellow named Dongbo Shuang had died just like that. Especially Jiezu, he knew that his master wanted to take Dongbo Shuang as a disciple. Dongbo Shuang had scouted most of the Lost World corridor. Other than the golden armored graded lair from the previous time, he found another 3. Wu Zhu, Blade Emperor and the others were surprised and happy, but they sighed at the same time. However, they did not dare to delay. Immediately, Wu Zhu, Void Primogenitor, and Blade Emperor worked together and headed towards the Lost World corridor. Hua. Within the Lost World corridor, Void Primogenitor specialized in super long-distance teleportation. Now that he had learned the destructive world teleportation technique, it was naturally much easier for him. His soul was stronger and his realm was higher. His scouting range was much larger and clearer than Dongbo Shuang. It's here. Void Primogenitor held onto a token left behind by Dongbo Shuang. It was a token that could sense spatial markings. After using the destructive world teleportation technique several times, he brought Wu Zhu and Blade Emperor to a sealed space. Within the sealed space, Void Primogenitor found the spatial markings left behind by Dongbo Shuang. This is the spatial markings. The golden armored graded lair is around here. Void Primogenitor began to scout the surroundings. He sighed. Although his super long-distance teleportation could sense far away, it was very blurry. As for the destructive world teleportation technique, not only was it easy to cast, it was also 1,000 times clearer. Especially at such a close distance, it was as though he was there himself. I see it, but there is no rush. I will look for the other 2 spatial markings. Void Primogenitor said, after I confirm the locations of the 3 golden armored graded layers, I will take action. It is fine if I don't act, but once I act, I must destroy the 3 golden armored graded layers with extreme speed. Alright. Wu Zhu and Blade Emperor agreed. Dongbo Shuiying had painstakingly searched for the spatial markings left behind for 1 trillion years. With Void Primogenitor's guidance, it was much easier to locate them. Move out. Within a golden armored graded layer, one of the destruction devils who was responsible for guarding the place looked with astonishment at the 3 figures who walked out of the distorted space. He had just transmitted a message to the kings, when that golden-robed cultivator erupted with endless blade lights. The surging blade lights howled and destroyed the entire lair space. In terms of destructive power, among Saber Emperor Wu Zhu and Jie, Saber Emperor was the strongest. Of course, the current Sword Master could compete with him. Let's go to the next one. The 3 of them were extremely fast. Actually, the reason why Ancestor Sorcerer followed them was to prevent them from facing the group of kings of the destruction devils. As long as Ancestor Sorcerer and Blade Emperor worked together, they would be able to fight against the kings of the destruction devils. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the saber light howled like a tidal wave, destroying the annihilation lair. It's easy for us to find him, but if Snow Eagle wants to find him, he'll definitely search everywhere. That Mount Chai could not find a single golden armored graded lair even after such a long time. It isn't easy for Snow Eagle to find 4 in total. Void Primogenitor discovered it too. His realm was considered high, yet he could only scout the nearby areas. With how vast the Lost World corridor was, it would take him a long time to finish scouting the entire lair. If he were to rest and cultivate after scouting for a while, it would take even longer. Even though Mount Chai charged a high fee to scout the lair in the past, he was not as diligent as Dongbo Shuiying. A breath of time was still a form of scouting. The time taken to brew a cup of tea was also a form of scouting. The efficiency was naturally worlds apart. What? They are all destroyed? 3 golden armored graded lairs are destroyed? The kings of the destruction devils who received the news were all stunned. Even the strongest Emperor Jun was incredibly shocked. They rapidly arrived at one of the destroyed golden armored graded lair space. This entire space had long been shattered. They were all looking at it in a daze. There were still remnants of sharp blade lights in the surroundings. It's Blade Emperor. Emperor Jun muttered. What is going on? What is going on with the cultivator cosmos gods? Why would they consecutively destroy 3 golden armored graded lairs? How did they discover it? These kings were all stunned. They felt a chill in their hearts. Because they were clear that they, the destruction devils, were at an absolute disadvantage when compared to the cultivators. Currently they only had the strength to defend. Even if they infiltrated into the world of the cultivators, they had to do so stealthily. They did not have the strength to attack the cultivators head-on. The only advantage they had was that their numbers would increase at a faster pace. The lairs would continuously produce destruction devils. As their numbers increased, the number of kings would also increase. The previous time when a golden armored graded lair was destroyed, they already felt heartache. This time they actually lost another 3. There are only 2 remaining. 2 golden armored graded lairs will take a much longer time to produce golden armored destruction devils. I wonder when the 3rd and 4th lairs will be born. The kings of the destruction devils present were slightly panicking. What I'm most afraid of is that they might discover the final 2 lairs after destroying 3. Rest assured. The further we go, the faster the lairs will be born. Emperor Jun muttered. Right now they are merely slowing down the rate of US being born. In the later stages, the rate of US being born will become even more exaggerated and they can't kill all of us. Wu Zhu, Blade Emperor, Void Primogenitor, and the others had returned. This trip was easy for them and they had succeeded. We succeeded? Forefather Tian Yu and Sword Master saw Wu Zhu, Blade Emperor, and Void Primogenitor walking out from the distorted void. This time, after discovering 3 golden armored graded lairs, we should still give Dongbo Shuiying 300,000 origin world rocks, right? Wu Zhu sighed. It's a pity that he has died. But we can't bully him either. This should be given to his loved ones. There's no rush. They are still weak and giving them treasures isn't a good thing. I'll arrange for it, Forefather Tianyu said. Amen. Everyone present nodded. The stronger an expert was, the more they were unwilling to owe others. They felt that they owed Dongbu Shuiying, and now they could only repay it to Dongbu Shuiying's family. Amen. The expressions of Wu Zhu Jiezu, Sword Master, Blade Emperor, Forefather Tianyu and the others changed. They turned their heads abruptly and looked towards a certain direction. That was the ancient sacred world. Because they had sensed an incomparably terrifying fluctuation earlier. One must know that they were able to sense it from such a far distance. What level of fluctuation was that? Just thinking about it caused them to tremble. Ancient sacred world. Old Monster Stone and Sacred Master had already fought to the point where the surrounding area had been destroyed. The entire ancient sacred world was being maintained by an invisible force. If not for Sacred Master doing his best to protect the ancient sacred world, it would have been destroyed. An enormous black monster hovered in midair. It was the true body of Old Monster Stone. Currently, a black pillar of light had pierced through the black monster's abdomen and came out from its shell, leaving behind a huge hole. The enormous black figure disappeared and turned into a skinny old man. The black pillar of light in the distance condensed into Sacred Master, who was draped in a black robe. Sacred Master's expression was extremely ugly, and the aura of the skinny old man was somewhat weak. You're crazy. Crazy. Sacred Master gritted his teeth. You've accumulated quite a lot of source energy. To think that even after burning the ancient sacred incarnation, you managed to injure my source energy. The skinny old man said in a low voice. Sacred Master was infuriated in his heart. His ancient sacred incarnation source energy was burnt to the point where he had to risk his life to injure this old man. Old Monster Stone, you're already severely injured. I'm afraid you're only left with 40 to 50% of your original strength. You can't do anything to me now. Also, even though I was the one who captured that Dongbu Shuiying alive, it was that little fella named Mount Chaimei who intentionally leaked the news to me. Mount Chaimei? Countless scenes appeared in the eyes of the skinny old man, Old Monster Stone. Right, it's him. How could he be so careless? He must have intentionally leaked the news to me. Sacred Master said. He didn't mind being used before this. But things were different now. He had suffered such a huge loss, and his strongest trump card, the ancient sacred incarnation, had been used up. How could he let that Mount Chaimei have it easy? He couldn't kill him. However, Old Monster Stone was capable of killing him. This was the third break. There would be a total of 5 breaks today. He had to work hard to catch up. Chapter 1007. Scenes appeared in the eyes of the skinny old man. Mount Chaimei's incarnation spying on the outside of the ancient sacred world, feeling pleased because of Dongbu Shuiying's death. Mount Chaimei intentionally leaking information. Mount Chaimei asking his master for help. Myriad Realms Tavern Master assassinating Dongbu Shuiying. Mount Chaimei persuading Myriad Realms Tavern Master to make a move. Following the trail of Mount Chaimei, he spied on the recent experiences of his true body and incarnation. Clearly, in terms of spying, he was better than the Sacred Master. And the results of the spying were obvious. The Sacred Master did not lie. Everything was driven by Mount Chaimei. Even Myriad Realms Tavern Master was not enthusiastic about this matter. Phew. The skinny old man glanced at the Sacred Master before disappearing. The Sacred Master stood there, his eyes cold. Mount Chaimei? Infusing me? If he did not suffer any losses, he would not care about Mount Chaimei's use. But the losses this time were too great. Naturally, he would vent his anger on Mount Chaimei. He could not kill Mount Chaimei himself, so he naturally thought of Old Monster Stone, who was at the same level as him. Old Monster Stone had also reached the ultimate realm. Moreover, Old Monster Stone's path of cultivation did not rely on external factors. Instead, he focused on himself. From the inside to the outside. Not only had his fleshly body been cultivated to an unimaginable level, but his body's control over the entire primal chaos void had also reached an extremely high level. With a thought, his fleshly body could appear anywhere in the primal chaos void. His powerful will could forcefully probe everything that had happened in the past. His strength came from his own body. What he pursued was to become extremely powerful and eventually break out of the cage of the primal chaos void. And what the Sacred Master pursued was to control the primal chaos void and become its master. At that time, he would naturally be able to leap out of this cage. Since the path he walked was different, his methods were naturally different as well. Old Monster Stone's cultivation was too powerful. Even Jiezu, who had obtained a portion of his legacy, The sacred master would not be able to harm a single hair on Jianghu under normal circumstances. Even though Old Monster Stone had been severely injured earlier, that attack was the strongest attack that the Holy Master could unleash after burning his ancient sage incarnation. Since he was unable to unleash it after that, he was no longer a threat to Old Monster Stone. However, Old Monster Stone's strength had been greatly reduced, and he was no longer a threat to the Holy Master. After all, the Holy Master was only an ancient sage clone. His true body was unharmed. Primal Chaos Void, Azure Heaven Realm. Mount Chai Mei was currently being served by the beautiful maidservant, drinking wine in satisfaction. He was in an extremely good mood. Fight with me? Dying in such a simple and painless manner. You really got off lightly. Mount Chai Mei sneered as he drank his wine. He was able to use the high and mighty Sacred Lord to kill that Dongbo brat. Mount Chai Mei felt a sense of accomplishment. After all, not everyone could make use of the Holy Leader. Even after making use of the Holy Leader would just pretend not to see it. Because he had the doppelganger technique, they couldn't do anything to him. Mount Chai Mei frowned as he looked ahead. A skinny elder holding a walking stick crossed the threshold and walked into the hall. The guards outside the hall did not move at all, and the surrounding space seemed to freeze. Mount Chai Mei's heart trembled as he felt an incredibly terrifying threat. Signoress? Mount Chai Mei immediately got up and was quite respectful. He knew when to lower his head. This person in front of him gave him an unprecedented sense of threat. He felt that this person was not inferior to the Sacred Lord. Because he had been killed by the Sacred Lord once, he had the doppelganger technique, so he had been fine. Dongbo Shuang did not offend you. Just because he can use the destructive world teleportation technique, you want to kill him? The skinny elder looked at the red-browed man in front of him. He had investigated Mount Chai Mei's past and found that Mount Chai Mei was extremely selfish and had even wanted to use his master. With his personality, he looked down on this kind of cultivator and was not willing to take in such a disciple. This idiot had used the Sacred Lord's greed to kill his own disciple. Dongbo Shuang? I didn't kill him. I can't kill him either. Mount Chai Mei hurriedly said, Senior is wise. This has nothing to do with me. My senior apprentice brother did make a move but couldn't do anything to him. He is extremely powerful and has a secret life-saving treasure and the destructive world teleportation technique. I'm afraid only the Sacred Lord can kill him. From Mount Chai Mei's point of view, he had done it cleanly. Naturally, he would not admit it. You are not admitting it? The skinny elder, Old Monster Stone, chuckled. His laughter caused Mount Chai Mei's heart to turn cold. Do you think you can hide what you did from me? All right, just obediently accept your death. The surroundings seemed to freeze. Mount Chai Mei's heart trembled. He felt that he couldn't move at all. It's fine. So what if he is powerful? I have the doppelganger technique. Even the Sacred Lord can't kill me. Mount Chai Mei thought to himself. However, he felt a little heartache. It seems that all my weapons and treasures are gone. What a pity. What? The skinny elder before him laughed coldly. He had sensed Mount Chai Mei's true body and found another doppelganger. Although that doppelganger had layers of interference, he cultivated his own body. However, he cultivated his own body, so he had to forcibly suppress the entire primal chaos void. All disturbances were forcibly broken by him, and he instantly discovered the body that was hidden in the depths of the primal chaos void, in a cave dwelling in the depths of a continent. The skinny elder suddenly disappeared. Mount Chai Mei was stunned. He had disappeared for just an instant. Following that, he appeared again. At this moment, the skinny elder was holding on to another Mount Chai Mei. How is this possible? The doppelganger that had just been caught had a look of terror in its eyes. The doppelganger of Mount Chai Mei, who was standing behind the table, was similarly terrified. Their lineage had deep attainments in the void. The cave dwelling that his doppelganger was hiding in had been personally reinforced by his master. He felt that it was impossible for anyone to find his doppelganger. But now the truth was right before his eyes. This mysterious old fellow had actually captured his doppelganger. Master. Mount Chai Mei's two doppelgangers immediately cried for help. Spare me. Senior, please spare me. On the surface, his two doppelgangers were begging for mercy. Suddenly, an invisible ripple emanated. The skinny elder, Eccentric Stone, held onto one of Mount Chai Mei's doppelgangers with one hand as he sneered at this scene. He was in no hurry to kill Mount Chai Mei. Instead, he was watching the invisible ripple emanate. Following that, a transparent figure appeared. It was a bird-headed transparent figure. Master, save me. Mount Chai Mei's two doppelgangers cried for help. The bird-headed transparent figure looked at the skinny elder, eccentric stone. His somewhat transparent brows furrowed slightly. For a moment he could not recognize the skinny elder's identity. He felt somewhat puzzled. Other than the sacred master, there was such a powerful existence in the primal chaos void? You are the one who snuck into our primal chaos void? The skinny elder, eccentric stone, sneered. I have been sleeping all this while and have ignored you. You are an outsider. How dare you? Fellow Taoist, please give me some face and spare my disciple's life. The bird-headed transparent figure continued speaking. Give me some face? You. Just as his voice faded, ping. The body of Mount Chai-Mei that the skinny elder was holding exploded. Mount Chai-Mei, who was standing behind the table, exploded as well. Both of them turned into nothingness. He died instantly. Chapter 1008. The bird-headed transparent figure became furious. This thin small old man in front of him was not in a rush to kill him. Instead, he waited for him to appear before killing him. Clearly, this old man was purposely slapping his face. Furthermore, he had only accepted 2 disciples in this primal chaos void. He was quite fond of his youngest disciple, Mount Chai-Mei, because the other party suited his temperament. You are an outsider. No matter how strong you are, you will be suppressed to the primal chaos realm in this primal chaos void. A mere primal chaos realm dares to ask me to give you face? The thin small old man, Old Monster Stone, sneered. If it was Yuan and Lord Lo Cheng who came, I would naturally give you face. But you want me to give you face? Humph. The bird-headed transparent figure was furious. No matter how strong you are, you can only stay in this origin world of yours. You can't leave and you are still looking down on me? He was furious. He grasped the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique and was able to travel to other origin worlds. Naturally, he was knowledgeable and learned many secret techniques. Under normal circumstances, existences at the same level would befriend him and exchange absolute arts. Who would have thought that this old man did not give him any face? Scram. The thin small old man roared out. Pong. A terrifying black air current erupted from the surface of his body and crushed over. The bird-headed transparent humanoid figure didn't even have time to escape and was crushed into pieces. However, this was merely one of his avatars. As the master of the Myriad Realm Tavern Master, he also had countless avatars. You dare to put on airs in my territory? You are just an outsider. The eyes of the thin small old man were filled with cold intent. Sacred Master and he were both life forms within this primal chaos void. Both of them could perfectly unleash their strength. An outsider, even if their realms were the same, would be extremely weak in this world. So, fighting and killing along the way, Old Monster Stone vented the anger in his heart. At this moment, the thin small old man, Old Monster Stone, sighed. No matter what, the disciple he liked and valued, Shuiying, had died. Previously, he had prepared many opportunities for Dongbua Shuiying, but they were all wasted. Time to sleep, time to sleep. I will wake up when this primal chaos void is about to be destroyed. Old Monster Stone was slightly dispirited. Cough cough. He coughed twice. The Sacred Master's all-out attack had indeed injured his foundation. Young Devil Child Emo is quite ruthless. His true body isn't injured at all. However, the ancient sacred incarnation's energy has been exhausted. I'm afraid he'll only be tormented again when the primal chaos void is about to be destroyed. Old Monster Stone shook his head and disappeared with a step. On the original Sun Star. On the gigantic fireball, a gigantic black figure appeared. This gigantic black figure slowly sank into the primordial sun and entered a deep slumber. He cultivated and healed his injuries in his sleep. Dongbua Yu, Dongbua, and Qingyao sat there in a daze. They had just found out and found it hard to accept. How powerful was their father? That time he was a true god ruler and did not die after entering the vast primal chaos void. Currently he had reached an extremely powerful realm and could fight with cosmos gods, yet he died? Die in the hands of a sacred lord? That was a sacred master who could fight against all other cosmos gods by himself. Even though their hearts were filled with hatred, the siblings felt helpless. They were not as talented as Dongbua Shuiying. They did not even have the confidence to break through to the primal chaos realm. The path of cultivation is like this. There are all sorts of obstacles and your father could not overcome them. Jing Qiu said, but I am still proud of him. He did not beg or lower his head when facing the sacred master. The two of you should cultivate properly in the future because no one will be able to shelter you from the wind and rain in the future. Amen. Dongbua Yu, Dongbua, and Qingyao nodded. Jing Qiu suddenly became startled because a figure appeared in her mind. It was the appearance of Jiezu. Jing Qiu, your husband Dongbo Shuiying should have become my junior disciple brother. It's a pity that my teacher has already fought with the sacred master and heavily injured him. Furthermore, my teacher has acted and killed Mount Chaimei. In the future, you should take good care of the children of Dongbo Shuiying. If you have any trouble, you can come and find me. Saying that, that illusory figure of Jiezu dissipated in her mind. Mount Chaimei is dead? Jing Qiu was startled. Even the sacred master could not kill him, yet the teacher of Jiezu killed him? Jiezu had a teacher? And he even heavily injured the sacred master? Jing Qiu had too many doubts in her mind. At the same time, Jiezu promised that he could find her if he had any trouble. This made Jing Qiu feel the influence of her husband. Jing Qiu did not know. After this battle, even the sacred master felt slight regret because the losses this time were too great. He would have to lay low for a very long period. No matter what, in this primal chaos void, that person called Dongbo Shuiying disappeared just like that. His figure was no longer on this stage. Hong. Even though Dongbo Shuiying deduced from Yuan's methods that Yuan should disdain from scheming, he would not feel at ease until the final moment. After activating the energy of the Realm Heart Order, a strand of Dongbo Shuiying's true spirit was enveloped by the energy of the Realm Heart Order. He instantly left the primal chaos void. Because he no longer had a soul and was only left with the weakest strand of true spirit that contained his memories, Dongbo Shuiying's perception of the outside world was extremely weak. Even after leaving the primal chaos void and arriving in the outside world, he could barely sense the chaotic energy fluctuations outside. Those were energy fluctuations with a suppressive nature. What made him feel fear was that he understood that even if his body was still present, if he entered the outside world, he would be instantly destroyed. Under the envelopment of the Realm Heart Order's energy, he seemed to be moving along a special pathway at high speed. Time passed by minutes and seconds. A very long time passed. 1 day, 2 days, or a year and a half. Advancing in this strange pathway, Dongbo Shuiying's strand of true spirit's perception of time became blurry. He could no longer accurately judge time. Or perhaps in such a place time no longer held any meaning. Occasionally, Dongbo Shuiying could faintly feel an incomparably huge fluctuation. Those were fluctuations that could rival the primal chaos void. Following which it would rapidly pass by. A very long time, it continued advancing. The energy of the Realm Heart Order was gradually being consumed along the way. Only 90%, 80%, 70%, 60%. Amen? This is... Dongbo Shuiying suddenly became excited because he felt a huge and terrifying fluctuation. This time it did not pass by him. Instead, it was rapidly approaching him. Close to half of the energy has been consumed. It seems I'm about to reach the Realm Heart Great Land. That mysterious Senior Yuan is truly unfathomable for him to teleport me so far. Dongbo Shuiying was even more certain that what that Yuan said should be true. As he got closer to that terrifying fluctuation, he finally clashed into it. Under the protection of the Realm Heart Order's energy, Dongbo Shuiying's strand of true spirit directly entered this vast world. Furthermore, it rapidly tunneled into an embryo that was currently being nurtured. Dongbo Shuiying could feel the powerful life force contained within this embryo. The life force of an embryo that is still being nurtured is so terrifying? Closely following that, Dongbo Shuiying's consciousness fused into the embryo. This strand of true spirit of his boomed before he lost his consciousness. Chapter 1009. In the vast Realm Heart Great Land, close to the Black Prisonine Sea, there was a relatively huge nation called the Southern Cloud Nation. Southern Cloud Nation, Ardent Fire City. The Ardent Fire City occupied an area spanning 50 billion kilometers. There were many cultivators and sects within. There was even an incarnation of a cosmos god guarding this place. And the city master of the Ardent Fire City was Marquis Ardent Fire, a primal chaos giant. At this moment, within the residence of Marquis Ardent Fire, there were many soldiers, servants, and guests. Within an unremarkable little courtyard. Mother, you should lie down and rest. There's no need to be angry with that female servant. A green-robed girl carefully supported a madam onto a reclining chair. The madam softly nodded. She laid there. She felt fatigued. She gently caressed her stomach. Her stomach was slightly protruding. A consciousness gradually awakened. I succeeded in reincarnating? Dongbo Shuiying's consciousness gradually awakened. Even though his soul was currently weak, he had reached the my heart as the world level. His soul might be weak, but its quality was extraordinary. He had long worn a robe on his body. Usually, when one's heart realm broke through to the third level from the second level, there would be a phenomenon where one could no longer control their aura. Their soul ripples would spread out in all directions, and many cultivators would discover it. But Dongbo Shui Ying's control over his soul was formidable. He did not leak any aura, and he could clearly observe his body. A strand of my true spirit has indeed reincarnated under the supreme law of this realm heart great land. It has perfectly fused into this soul. Dongbo Shuiying was satisfied. Even though his soul was weak, it was still at the peak of the deity realm. Furthermore, it was at the third level of heart realm. This body of mine? Dongbo Shuiying observed his little fleshy body in the embryo. Currently this body had both hands and feet. Looking at the fifth limb, he let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, I'm a male. He still had his memories. If he were to reincarnate as a female, he would not be able to endure it. He was afraid that he would have to control his body to change its gender. But powerful cultivators could observe the fetus in the stomach. If a fetus was discovered to be a female early on and turned into a male later on, it would definitely arouse suspicions. The life force of my body is quite strong. It is still an embryo, yet it is comparable to a world deity. Dongbo Shuiying sighed inwardly. Even though his vitality was strong, his body was only at the deity level. However, it was still growing, and Dongbo Shuiying believed that it would only get stronger and stronger. It seems like there is still a long time before he is born. Given how strong his life force is, if he continues to grow at this rate, he would at least be a world deity when he is born. He might even be a real god. Dongbo Shuiying found it hard to believe. True god? In his world, newborns in the sacred world were usually only transcendents. Even the children of cosmos gods would not be true gods the moment they were born. According to what Yuan said, the foundation of the realm heart great land is much deeper than that of the primal chaos void. Dongbo Shuiying thought to himself. For a child to be this strong even at the embryonic stage, the bloodline was definitely not the only factor. After all, the children of cosmos gods in the primal chaos void had cultivated later on. There were probably some secret techniques. Like the void creatures, some unique void creatures were void gods the moment they were born. Even the weaker ones were born as true god hegemons. Some cultivators had long been researching whether they could allow their children to be born like the void creatures, becoming true gods or void gods. Unless the realm heart great land has researched out a similar secret technique? Dongbo Shuiying no longer thought about it. He believed he would understand this information soon after his child was born. Inner observation. Dongbo Shuiying began thoroughly inspecting his fleshy body. If he wanted to, he could easily kill a true god hegemon with just a single glance. The will contained within his gaze was enough to kill a true god. Naturally, his soul was able to observe his fleshy body with great detail. It's in my blood? Dongbo Shuiying continued analyzing. He soon discovered something. The internal structure of the particles in his blood was very complex. It was as if many profound three-dimensional diagrams were fused together. Some were superfluous and some were the main body. These three-dimensional array diagrams. Some were huge and clear and some were tiny and weak. But some of these tiny array diagrams contained an ancient and distant concept. That was a concept that was deeper than the 10th transformation of the Cinnabar inheritance and the destruction 9-petaled flower that he created in the past. Even though the largest three-dimensional array diagram was extremely clear, its concept was very weak. Dongbo Shuiying deduced that it should be at the void god origin birth realm or unity realm. The reason why his judgment was so vague was because Dongbo Shuiying did not understand the laws and profound mysteries of the realm heart great land. He merely relied on the feeling given by the array diagram and his experience to make a vague judgment. Bloodline, and there are many bloodlines hidden in my body. Dongbo Shuiying was startled. The bloodline cultivation system was an extremely huge system where he came from. He had naturally researched about it and understood that there were many bloodlines hidden in this fleshy body of his. That ancient and distant grand perfection concept he deduced had surpassed the 9th level, and there were a total of 8 bloodlines that belonged to cosmos gods. But they were all extremely weak. They should have been separated by many generations. Instead, the most obvious bloodlines were the weaker ones. This fleshy body of mine is indeed suitable for the bloodline cultivation technique. Dongbo Shuiying was inwardly delighted. It was easy to cultivate the bloodline cultivation technique. For instance, his disciple Xinghua Sunyi easily reached the unity realm in the past. His father, Xinghua Emperor, was at the primal chaos realm. Because Xinghua Sunyi was his biological son, The bloodline of his father in his body should be very concentrated, allowing him to cultivate quickly. As for himself, he naturally leaned towards the cosmos god bloodline. Even though it was weak, his realm was high. Even though the laws and profound mysteries of this world had undergone a huge change, with his previous foundation, it was still relatively easy for him to cultivate it. It was hard to improve the laws and profound mysteries system, but he would definitely improve his bloodline cultivation system much faster. I should first cultivate the bloodline cultivation system to increase my power. That way my soul will become stronger. Once my soul becomes stronger, my speed of deducing and comprehending will also explosively increase. Dongbo Shuang pondered. He was used to the speed of his soul when he was at the primal chaos realm. At this moment, his soul at the peak of the deity realm, the essence of the third-level heart realm, was comparatively slower by a few times. Sharpening a knife would not delay the work of chopping wood. To him, cultivating the bloodline cultivation system was akin to sharpening his blade. After all, the bloodline cultivation system would only allow him to reach the primal chaos realm at the very most. I should first have a look at the laws and profound mysteries of this realm heart great land and the place where I came from. Dongbo Shuang began focusing his senses. The supreme law pervaded everywhere. Naturally, this embryo contained some law ripples too. Dongbo Shuang extended his consciousness. Previously, his realm was high, yet he did not understand a single bit of the laws and profound mysteries of this realm heart great land. Naturally, he had to start from scratch. Mirage, void, ripple, slaughter. Dongbo Shuang first sensed what he was most familiar with. Previously, he mainly cultivated the Tao of mirage, slaughter, and ripple. But because of Walker's hidden secret, Emperor Juyun's 4 diagrams absolute art, General Mo Gu's scaled armor, and the trillion years of cultivation in the Lost World corridor, Dongbo Shuang had accumulated a deep understanding of the void. Strictly speaking, of the 4 great aspects, the mirage was ranked first and the void was ranked second. Slaughter was third and ripple was fourth. Wu, as he concentrated on sensing the supreme law for half a month or so, he no longer had any doubts. Instead, he had a clear judgment. The story of the realm heart great land began. Chapter 10:10. This will be troublesome. What Yuan said is right. The supreme law in the realm heart great land is entirely different from where I came from. Many laws and profound mysteries under the supreme law have changed too. Even though Dongbo Shuang found it troublesome, he was not worried. Even though the profound mysteries were different, many structures were similar. There were also supreme law, cosmos law, and primal chaos level law. With his accumulations, he was confident of cultivating further. Furthermore, this is also a form of tempering. Cultivating under a different supreme law is a form of tempering for me. This way, I should have a greater chance of breaking through to the cosmos god realm. Dongbo Shuang thought. Yuan had mentioned in the information contained in the Realm Heart Order that one would have a deeper foundation after coming to the Realm Heart Great Land. Furthermore, cultivating under a different supreme law would be beneficial to breaking through to the cosmos god realm. I specialize in 4 Tao paths, Mirage, Slaughter, and Ripple. These 3 Tao paths have huge variations. Only the Void is more similar. Dongbo Shuang let out a sigh of relief. He believed that he would improve the fastest in the Tao of Void, no matter if it is the primal chaos void or the realm heart great land. To these 2 origin worlds, the void is an important component of the origin world. It is logical that the void is more similar. Just half a month or so, Shuang had reached the deity realm in the aspect of the void. This was because his soul was too weak and his comprehension was too slow. Let me sense the outside world. Dongbo Shuang did not dare to extend his soul ripple out. After all, this fleshy body and bloodline should have an extraordinary origin. He merely focused and listened to the sounds coming from the outside world. Mother, calm down. How is this female servant here to serve me? She is simply here to anger me. In the outside world, within the house, a madam wrapped in a thick gown laid there. She could not help but say, "That time I have rejected her many times." Yet the marquisdame still arranged for this female servant to come over. This is the rule of the marquisdame. Mother, since you are pregnant, they will naturally arrange for this female servant. Both of our statuses are low in the residence. As long as this female servant isn't foolish, she will definitely listen to the eldest madam. We have to endure and not create any trouble. If we do, we might suffer even more if we infuriate the eldest madam. I only hate myself for being useless, barely becoming a true deity. My status is only a bit better than that of a female servant. The green-clothed woman said in a low voice. It's not your fault. If you want to blame someone, blame me for being weak and blame your father for being ruthless. The woman sighed. Father, he. The green-robed woman also shook her head. The children had long been disappointed in their fathers. Perhaps they could see them from afar, but their fathers might not even recognize them. After all, some children never saw their father after they were born. Creak. The door to the courtyard suddenly opened. This caused the mother and daughter pair in the room to look outside. A female servant came in with a wooden tray and said indifferently, Madam, this is the seventh dawn spirit-scented tea sent from the mansion. The mother and daughter hurriedly stood up because they saw an old man standing outside the courtyard with a glance. The old man was coldly looking into the courtyard. The woman hurriedly walked over and obediently received the bowl of seventh dawn spirit-scented tea. She tilted her head back and drank it. This bowl of 7 dawn spirit-scented tea was something she could not afford even if she saved up for her entire life. It was prepared by the ardent fire marquisdom for every single baby in the process of gestation, so that they could grow stronger. Amen. The old man watched the woman drink it before turning around and leaving. Only then did the mother and daughter return to the house. The female servant outside sneered before walking out. She was too lazy to serve this madam. She did not think highly of this madam. After all, if not for her pregnancy, this madam would have an extremely low status within the ardent fire marquisdom. She was not much better than the female servant. She was not qualified to have a servant serve her. After all, there were 100,000 such madams within the huge ardent fire marquisdom. Any random son of Marquis Ardent Fire would have dozens or even hundreds of women. Marquis Ardent Fire originally had 36 children. The number of children and grandchildren he had was even more uncountable. Hence, the direct descendants of Marquis Ardent Fire did not have a noble status. Only those who could become void gods had a slightly more important status. As for the large number of madams, their statuses were naturally lower, unless they gave birth to very formidable children. A mother's status would depend on their children. I keep feeling that the medicinal effect of this 7th dawn spirit-scented tea is weaker than what the rumors say. Within the house, the woman transmitted, AI, your little brother is born in my stomach and is naturally weak. If the 7th dawn spirit-scented tea isn't helpful enough, he might not become a true god after birth. With a weak bloodline, it would be harder for him to cultivate in the future. Mother, the eldest madam does not dare to forbid you from drinking the 7th dawn spirit-scented tea, but it is still easy for her to do some tricks. The green-robed girl transmitted back. These words did not dare to be loud. Your little brother should be the 340th child of your father, right? He is innately weak and his future should be bleak. Your father might even disdain to come and take a look. The woman shook her head. She was once an ordinary girl within the ardent fire city. It was only because of her looks that she was captured and brought to the residence. That was why that husband of hers had ordered someone to summon her over for a visit before throwing her to the back of his mind. On the other side, that lowly servant has already drunk the 7th dawn spirit-scented tea, the old man respectfully said. Seated there was a red-robed girl with a grand aura. She was at the void god unity realm. This lowly servant is quite good at giving birth. Previously she gave birth to a daughter. Who would have thought that that trash would dote on her again, and this time she got pregnant with a boy? The red-robed girl sneered, It's useless. It's useless no matter how many these lowly servants give birth to. Madam, madam. A shout could be heard coming from outside. A middle-aged male ran in. He bowed with a cheeky smile. Madam, I don't have a single cosmos crystal left now. Ingshan Lai Hu, you only know how to play and eat. What Grandpa Marquis gave to you will be wasted by you sooner or later. This is the last one for this year. Don't come and find me for more this year. There's nothing left even if you ask for more. The red-robed girl angrily waved her hand. A storage wristband was thrown over. The middle-aged male immediately refined it after receiving it. Only then did he turn around and leave with a cheeky smile. Many thanks, madam. This trash. The red-robed girl became angry the moment she saw her husband. Her husband was merely a true god ruler. He was not even a void god. Fortunately, he was one of the biological sons of Marquis Ardent Fire. Furthermore, he was the second child. Marquis Ardent Fire had given birth to such a son when he was relatively weak, and he still had feelings for him. That was why he had transferred some of the resources within the Marquis Ardent Fire residence to this second son. Marquis Ardent Fire was the city master. Many lands, cavern dwellings, and shops in the Ardent Fire city belonged to him. Furthermore, Marquis Ardent Fire had constructed 9 great cities. Marquis Ardent Fire had arranged for an incarnation of his to fall into a deep sleep in every city. Naturally, many resources in the great cities belonged to Marquis Ardent Fire, and Marquis Ardent Fire had also distributed many of them. The clan actually wants me to marry such trash. The red-robed girl felt frustrated. She came from an aristocratic clan and had a noble status. She was also at the Unity Realm. Naturally, her bloodline was purer. Marquis Ardent Fire clearly had feelings for his second son. After asking for this marriage, he hoped that some of the children of his second son would appear. But it is fortunate that he is trash. The red-robed girl sneered inwardly. Ever since she married over, many lands, shops, and other resources under her husband's name had naturally fallen into her hands. Many of them had even been transferred to her own son under various pretexts. For instance, it was a gift from her father to his son. It was just that she was afraid of the feelings Marquis Ardent Fire had for her husband. Hence, she still had to comply with her husband on the surface. Within the stomach of his mother, Dongbo Shuiying was attentively listening to the voices of the outside world. After hearing some of the complaints from his mother and sister, he had gained some understanding. What, I am father's 340th child? Cultivators can actually have so many children? In his hometown, the stronger an expert was, the harder it would be for him to have children. Like himself and Jingqiu, they only had Yu, and Qingyao when they were still weak in the material realm. After that, they did not have any more children. 340? That was too crazy. It seems that mother's status in this marquisdom is quite low. Dongbo Shuiying thought. He did not mind it. He controlled his body to absorb the nourishment transmitted over by the 7 Dawn spirit-scented tea. Even though some tricks had been done, causing the medicinal effect to be much weaker. Every bit he absorbed was still a bit. To Dongbo Shuiying, even if he did not have any external help, it was not hard for him to raise his strength. I should first slowly accumulate. I wonder how long I have to stay in the womb. Dongbo Shuiying could vaguely feel that there was still a long time before he was born. Chapter 10-11. Being someone who had once created 2 great 9th-level techniques and could fight against cosmos gods, Dongbo Shuiying had made his decision after sensing the laws and profound mysteries in the realm Heart Great Land. According to what this mother of mine said, the child in my stomach is innately weak? Dongbo Shuiying sighed inwardly. Who would have thought that my life force is comparable to that of a world deity, yet it is still weak? Furthermore, this mother of mine has a very low status in the residence. She is weak too, and her vision should not be too high. Since she said that the child in her stomach is weak, then it must be very weak. This marquisdom actually prepared spiritual medicine for every child. Clearly they value the bloodline of the child. Since that's the case, I'll have to be stunning when I'm born. I'll be a heaven's pride from birth, and the entire marquisdom would do their best to groom me. Even if I become slightly more talented in the future, it should be understandable. Dongbo Shuiying made his decision. He had to make himself a heaven's pride. Of the 4 Dao paths I am most familiar with, the one that is most similar to the realm Heart Great Land in the primal chaos void is the void. Cultivating in the void is 10 to 100 times easier. Dongbo Shuiying nodded inwardly. I shall choose this. Furthermore, Dongbo Shuiying discovered something. The many bloodlines hidden in his body had their own specialties. Clearly they were all bestowed by his ancestors. Of which there were a total of 11 void-related bloodlines, though they seemed to be slightly weaker. Of these 11 void bloodlines, the strongest was at the cosmos god level. Even though it was extremely weak, it was not a problem to Dongbo Shuiying. Looking at my bloodline, it seems the ancestor of my lineage should be leaning towards the flame. Dongbo Shuiying thought, it's a pity that I'm not specialized in the flame. I shall choose the void bloodline of that cosmos god. I shall choose this. Shuiying decided that his bloodline cultivation path would be to stimulate the weak bloodline left behind in his body by this cosmos god existence after an unknown number of generations. Time passed. Day by day, month by month. The fetus in the womb gradually became stronger, and it naturally stepped into the world deity realm. Its soul also became stronger and its cultivation speed increased. Its understanding of the void bloodline deepened as well. Dongbo Shuiying's cultivation realm was simply too high. His cultivation realm was simply too high. However, he still gently absorbed the power of heaven and earth from the outside world. Although it was gentle, he was constantly absorbing it. Every bit of power of heaven and earth that he absorbed was perfectly fused into the fetus body, causing it to continuously grow stronger. I've been in my mother's womb for 3 years. Why do I feel like I'm still far from being born? Dongbu Shuang was puzzled. How long am I supposed to stay in my mother's womb? Within the ardent fire marquisdom, within a remote little courtyard. There was only a disobedient maid serving her, but Rong Xinglan's heart was filled with joy recently because she saw hope. My child, he's growing up so fast. Rong Xinglan caressed her tummy. She could feel the aura of the fetus in her tummy becoming stronger. Now, it should be a stage 3 world deity. Mother, I was born after 15 years in your womb. Little brother's innate talent is much higher than mine, and I'm afraid he will stay longer. The green-robed girl by the side was filled with expectations too. Because every disciple with a high status in the ardent fire marquisdom would have a large group of wives. Hence, even if they were brothers and sisters, they would not know each other, and their relationship would be even weaker. Usually, those who had the same mother would have a better relationship. Because of the secret technique, it was not bad for a woman to give birth to 2 or 3 powerful children in her lifetime. In my opinion, your little brother should be able to stay in my womb for more than 50 years or even 80 years. Rong Xinglan's eyes brightened. She saw hope after living a mediocre half of her life. He will be nurtured to perfection. He might even be able to drink more 7th Dawn spirit-scented tea. A bowl of 7th Dawn spirit-scented tea was sent over every year. The longer one stayed in the womb, the more he would drink. Instead, the marquisdom was more than willing to do so because staying longer in the womb represented a greater potential and a stronger bloodline. In the history of the ardent fire marquisdom, there were quite a few who were true gods the moment they were born. There were even some who were true god rulers after being nurtured for 100 to 200 years in the womb. In the Southern Cloud Nation and other aristocratic clan, there were some who were void gods after staying in the womb for several hundred years. In the primal chaos void where Dongbu Shuang came from, there were some extremely heaven-defying void creatures who were void gods the moment they were born. Your little brother will most likely be a true god the moment he is born. His cultivation will be even faster in the future. The Madame Rong Xinglan rubbed her stomach. Her face was filled with radiance. During the 9th year of pregnancy, Rong Xinglan was startled to discover that the aura of the fetus in her stomach had risen once again. It had reached the true god level. He has become a true god. Rong Xinglan was incredibly excited. It seems the bloodline of my son is extremely formidable. Even though his father, Ying Shanlai, who was relatively trash and was the son of Marquis Ardent Fire, he was only a true god ruler. His mother, Rong Xinglan, was even weaker at the world deity realm. But according to logic, their children should be weak too. Yet there were times when they would erupt into absolute geniuses. After all, bloodline inheritance would occasionally erupt. In Rong Xinglan's opinion, her son clearly had an extraordinary bloodline. Madam, the 7th Dawn spirit-scented tea sent over by the residents. It was another batch of 7th Dawn spirit-scented tea that was sent over once a year. The female servant pushed open the courtyard door and brought in a wooden tray. There was a cold old man standing outside the courtyard. My mother is slightly tired. Send her in. The green-robed girl shouted out from outside the house. Drink it in the courtyard. The cold old man outside the courtyard coldly said. The 7th Dawn spirit-scented tea had to be drunk by pregnant women. This was the rule of the marquisdom. Because the large group of women in the marquisdom had low statuses, they could not afford a bowl of 7th Dawn spirit-scented tea even if they saved up their entire lives. The marquisdom was afraid that these pregnant women would not drink it and would instead sell it. Hence, they had to personally see them drink it. Yes. Even though Rong Xinglan was unwilling, she still came out. She quickly received the 7th Dawn spirit-scented tea and drank it before entering the house. Stand there. The cold old man roared. Rong Xinglan trembled. The expression of the cold old man changed slightly. He turned around and left. Rong Xinglan and the green-robed girl stood side by side as they watched the cold old man leave. Their faces were filled with anxiety. We are in trouble. We have been discovered. The green-robed girl transmitted. I knew that as long as we came out, we would not be able to hide. That old man will definitely discover us. Rong Xinglan gritted her teeth. The difference between a world deity and a true god's aura was huge. The fetus in her womb had become a true god, while Rong Xinglan was merely a world deity. She could not conceal the aura of the fetus in her womb at all. Would the eldest madam do something? The green-robed girl was worried. I'm not afraid. The marquisdom places great importance on every single fetus of the direct bloodline. The moment they act, it would be a huge crime. Rong Xinglan gritted her teeth. Furthermore, I will risk my life to protect my son. She, Rong Xinglan, had been mediocre for half her life. In the past, she was merely an ordinary and weak girl in the ardent fire city. She could only swallow her anger when she was snatched away by that aristocratic family disciple with an extremely high status. She could only swallow her anger when she was bullied by the eldest madam. But today she had revealed her weak fangs for the first time in her life, all for the sake of protecting her child with boundless prospects. No one could destroy their own child. Chapter 10-12. In the hall, the woman in red sat and stared at the old man who was standing respectfully to the side. "You're saying that the baby in Rongxing Lan's womb is already a true god?" The red-robed girl's gaze was cold. The temperature in the hall had fallen rapidly, and the old man felt his heart trembling. Even though he was a void god at the origin birth realm, the eldest madam had long reached the unity realm. She was even more powerful, and killing her was as easy as flipping her hand. Yes. The old man's heart trembled slightly. There's no way I'm mistaken. If I remember correctly, she has only been pregnant for 9 years, the woman in red said indifferently. Yes. The old man nodded. It seems like she is really lucky to have such a child with Lai Hu. His talent is so high. You have really made a great contribution to our marquee manor. The red-clothed woman smiled and said, "Help me visit her and send some gifts over so that she can take good care of the fetus. Right now, the fetus in her belly is the most important thing. No matter what, he is still Lai Hu's child." The old man was a little surprised. Gifts. Year after year, the eldest madam was truly kind. She would arrange for her subordinates to send gifts to Rongxing Lan almost every month. Rongxing Lan was also very careful. She did not even dare to eat or drink what the eldest madam sent. However, when he arranged for his daughter to sell the gifts, he discovered that they were all precious treasures and had been sold for a high price. First madam didn't seem to have any ill intentions. In the blink of an eye, Rongxing Lan had already been pregnant for 15 years, and the aura of the fetus in her womb had already reached the level of a true god. Reporting to madam, this year's 7th dawn spirit-scented tea has been drunk by Rongxing Lan. The old man returned to report. Little sister Xing Lan, is the baby in your womb doing well? The red-clothed woman smiled. They're all right. They're still at the level of a true god venerable, the old man said. Yes, I'll go get some gifts from the deputy steward. The red-robed girl laughed. At the same time, she transmitted a message into the old man's soul. Remember, this time, the bottle of spiritual medicine that I sent over must be drunk by that slut Rongxing Lan. You must drink it. The old man's heart trembled. Not good. Although he had given her gifts many times before, he had never forced her to drink them. As for the 7th dawn spirit-scented tea, that was the rule of the Marquis's estate. But now the gift from the eldest madam was forcing Rongxing Lan to drink it. The old man was not stupid at all. Madam, you can't do that. The Ying Shan clan has strict rules and this is a huge crime. The moment you are discovered, you will be executed. The old man replied through his soul. He didn't even dare to say it out loud, fearing that the first madam would kill him out of anger. After all, first madam had only sent him a soul message. There was no way she could use it against him. Manager Tian, either your entire family dies, or you listen to me obediently. Don't worry, after that bitch Rongxing Lan drinks it, the fetus in her womb will be fine. At most, it will suffer from some innate damage and become slightly mediocre. The red-robed girl transmitted, you are just a mediocre disciple. It is unknown how many there are in the ardent fire marquisdom over the trillions and trillions of years. Nobody would care about you. Furthermore, I have arranged a treasure that can influence time-space for you. Even time reversal can forget about discovering what you have done. Alright, it is up to you whether you want to do it or not. The elder felt bitter in his heart. Now that he knew everything, would he dare to refuse? If he refused, it would be silent and his entire family would be wiped out. Even though he had done many bad deeds in the past, violating the rules of the Ying Shan clan still caused his heart to tremble. Yes, this old servant will definitely not disappoint madam. The old man transmitted. Go. The red-robed girl chuckled. Help me send my regards to little sister Xing Lan. Yes. The old man said. He immediately left. The red-robed girl watched silently. Killing intent surged in her heart. What a bitch. I did not treat her as a threat at all, yet the fetus in her womb is so formidable. The moment he is born, he will definitely take away many resources from my lineage. The resources under her husband's name had long been treated as her own. Indeed, many shops, cavern dwellings and lands were managed by her people. She could only give them to her own child. As for other threats, they had to be eradicated as soon as possible. When the fetus in that bitch's womb grows up, I'll find a chance to let him die silently outside. And Manager Tian, after I settle this matter, I'll let him die too. The red-robed girl thought. The old man arrived at the small courtyard of Rong Xinglan. Manager Tian. Rong Xinglan brought her daughter and female servant with her. They greeted him. Haha, I've come to deliver some gifts under Madam's orders. The old man chuckled. With a wave of his hand, a basket appeared. There were quite a few gifts in the basket and he handed it over. Rong Xinglan also received it with a smile. After all, this Manager Tian had sent many gifts over the years without any problems. The old man had just passed the basket over when he flipped his hand and another black jade bottle appeared. He smiled. This jade bottle contains an extremely precious spiritual liquid that Madam has prepared for you. Come drink it. Thank you, Madam. Rong Xinglan also extended her hand to receive it. Such a precious spiritual liquid. Don't sell it to others. You have often sold the gifts that Madam has given you. The old man chuckled. You should drink it directly. As he said that, a formless energy spread out and bound Rong Xinglan. He was about to feed it to her. Rong Xinglan was shocked. 6 years had passed and the dagger was finally revealed? No. Rong Xinglan struggled. She could feel the fetus in her womb growing stronger. She thought about how her son would be dazzling in the future. How could she drink the spiritual liquid in the strange black jade bottle? Stop. The green-robed girl by the side, Ying Shiyu, was greatly startled. Even though she knew that there were many dark and cruel matters within the aristocratic clan, she had never thought that it would involve the fetus of the direct bloodline. This was an iron law set by the entire Yingshan clan. Those who dared to act against the fetus would definitely be punished with death. She who was slightly cowardly and cowardly directly acted. Hong. The old man casually waved his hand, causing the green-robed girl, Ying Shiyu, to fall heavily onto the ground by the side. She was even suppressed by the unseen energy and could not move at all. Ying Shiyu shouted out, "This is a death crime, a death crime. If you want to do it, come at me. Don't do this to my child. He has yet to be born. He has yet to be born." Rong Xinglan was filled with terror. Her eyes were filled with pleading as she looked at the old man in front of her. The old man remained incomparably cold. Don't blame me. I want to live too. My family wants to live too. If you want to blame someone, blame the eldest madam. Goo. The spiritual liquid in the black bottle was directly poured into Rong Xinglan's mouth. Rong Xinglan's mouth was forcefully opened by an unseen energy, and the spiritual liquid was directly sent in. Rong Xinglan felt despair and agony. Tears streamed down her face. Why? She even had the determination to use her life to protect her child. But it was futile no matter how hard she tried. The female servant by the side was trembling as she watched. Seeing this scene with her own eyes, she felt horrified and uneasy. This was a huge crime. Don't worry. The old man looked at the female servant and transmitted, "Just act as if you have not seen anything. The time-space here has been distorted and you can't even see the reversal of time." After finishing feeding her, the old man kept the black jade bottle before leaving. Rong Xinglan softly fell onto the ground. Her face was filled with tears. Her eyes were filled with despair. Why? Why did you do it to me? Why did you do it to my child? Mother. Ying Shiyu came over and hugged her mother. Can you expel that venom out? It's useless. It's useless. Rong Xinglan shook her head. The moment I drink it, it will rapidly permeate through my entire body. I can't resist it at all. Not good. Rong Xinglan held onto her stomach. I feel that I am about to give birth. I am about to give birth. Ying Shiyu was greatly startled. She was about to give birth? So vicious that you are actually forcing it out? Ying Shiyu immediately brought her mother back to the house and closed the door in preparation for giving birth. That's right, they were about to give birth prematurely. But Rong Xinglan and her mother had wrongly blamed the eldest madam. The venom arranged by the eldest madam would only harm the innate foundation of the fetus in her stomach. It would not cause the fetus to be born immediately. It was Dongbo Shuiying's decision to give birth immediately. Damn. Dongbo Shuiying, who was in his mother's stomach, cultivated the void. He could vaguely sense what was happening in the outside world. His eyes were about to pop out. I can't wait any longer. If I do, I wonder what will happen. Even though the venom was rapidly permeating through the fetus, it was about to invade his body. But Dongbo Shuiying rapidly shrank his body. After all, it was easy for a true god to change his body size. He cut off the connection between him and the fetus. He prevented the venom from reaching him. Get out. He even controlled the void to force the fetus to be born. Rong Xinglan felt her stomach aching. Lying on the bed, Rong Xinglan still wanted to endure. She wanted the child to stay in her stomach for a longer period. That's right, it has to be born. Rong Xinglan's face was filled with tears. Her hair was also wet. That eldest madam is too vicious. Yingshan Shiyu felt anxious too. Come out. Rong Xinglan extended her hand into her stomach. Following that she pulled out a meatball. That plump meatball landed on the bed. To world deities it was extremely simple to let the child come out. That red plump meatball had golden inscriptions revolving on it. This was also a secret technique used to nurture the fetus, allowing the fetus to be sufficiently strong. Activate. Dongbua Shuiying, who was in the plump meatball, once again activated the bloodline in his body. His realm had long reached the required level. Previously, it was just that he did not want to cause a huge commotion and had been absorbing the world energy gently. Now that he was about to be born, his goal was to shock the world. Naturally, he began activating the void bloodline in his body. It's a pity that he had only cultivated for a decade or so, and had only activated the tip of the iceberg of his void bloodline. Hong. One could see the golden inscriptions on the surface of the plump red meatball exploding with a dazzling light. At the same time, the world energy in the sky surged over, forming an enormous maelstrom light pillar that poured into the plump meatball. The old man who left the small courtyard to report to the eldest madam abruptly turned to the distance. He looked at the world energy maelstrom in the sky with great shock. Who is so unbridled to dare to absorb the world energy within the marquisdom so wantonly? Even if he wants to cultivate, he should be in closed-door cultivation. Hong. That golden light? The ardent fire marquisdom was incomparably vast. Experts were as common as clouds. Many experts within the marquisdom could sense this place from afar. They could also see the faint golden light under the surging maelstrom light pillar. That is the golden light of the birth of an infant. Why is it so intense? The array spirit within the ardent fire marquisdom felt the disturbance. Naturally, it activated the array and descended to this small courtyard to investigate. Discovering the situation, it immediately transmitted the news to all the higher-ups in the ardent fire marquisdom. The son of Yingshan Lai who has been born. He is a void god, and his mother is Rong Xinglan. The moment this news spread, the entire ardent fire marquisdom was shaken. At the same time, this news spread across the entire Yingshan clan. The ardent fire marquisdom was merely a branch of the Yingshan clan, and the birth of such an outstanding disciple from the Yingshan clan would naturally startle the entire Yingshan clan. Chapter 10:13. The ardent fire marquisdom had existed for 1,000,000,000 years. Experts were as common as clouds, and those qualified to be considered as the upper echelon of the entire marquisdom were only Marquis Ardent Fire and the elders. The requirements to become an elder of the ardent fire marquisdom were extremely harsh. If it were a disciple from the Yingshan clan, he would have to reach the God Yuan Palace 5th level strength before he was qualified to become an elder. Naturally, there were exceptions like the 36 children of Marquis Ardent Fire. They were after all the biological children of Marquis Ardent Fire, and their statuses were slightly more unique. Even Yingshan Lai who was merely a true god ruler could obtain a huge portion of resources. As long as the children of Marquis Ardent Fire reached the Unity Realm, they could become elders. Also, honored guests that came from outside had to rely on the Ardent Fire Marquisdom and be completely loyal to the Ardent Fire Marquisdom. Only then would they be truly nurtured by the Ardent Fire Marquisdom. They had to at least reach the God Yuan Palace 6th level, before they could become elders. What, he is a void god at birth? This should be the only person who was born a void god in our Ardent Fire Marquisdom, right? His father is Yingshan Lai Hu? Yingshan Lai Hu? The second son of Master Ho? How can he have such a powerful child? The doyens were all shocked. They did not think highly of Yingshan Lai Hu. After all, cultivators still valued strength and he was merely a true god trash. As for Rong Xinglan, they had never even heard of such a person before. Now, this trash had a child with a woman whom they had never heard of before, and the child was actually a void god at birth? Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Many streams of light rushed into the sky from various locations within the Ardent Fire Marquisdom. They were rapidly flying towards this desolate little courtyard. Because the Ardent Fire Marquisdom occupied a huge area, and there was an array suppressing the cultivator from teleporting. Flying over would require some time. Actually, even if they could teleport, there were few at the Unity Realm who could do so. The suppression from the Realm Heart Great Land was much stronger than the suppression from the Primal Chaos Void. The 5 great sacred worlds of the Primal Chaos Void were ultimately broken pieces or created by cosmos gods. It could not be compared with the Realm Heart Great Land. This is the child? Those who were relatively close to this remote courtyard arrived in just a few breaths of time. They stood in midair and looked at the round red meatball that had caused a huge vortex of heaven and earth energy to form in the small courtyard. There were countless golden patterns on this red meatball, and they were all shining brightly, dazzling and resplendent. The 2 elders who arrived first and some other experts within the Ardent Fire Marquisdom who were attracted over by the commotion and did not know what was going on were looking at that plump red fleshy ball with slight astonishment. That golden light was simply blinding their eyes. In their entire lives, it would be difficult for them to witness such a huge commotion at birth. The house was torn apart by the surging world energy. Mainly because Rongxing Lan's status was too low, the house she was staying in was naturally ordinary. And at this moment Rongxing Lan, her daughter, Yingshan Xiu, and that female servant were looking at that terrifying maelstrom of world energy in a daze, and that plump red fleshy ball that was releasing a golden light. The commotion startled them. Amen? There was a huge lake within the marquisdom. There were many dragon beasts swimming within. By the shore there was a red-haired male fishing there. His fishing rod was emitting many rings of unseen ripples that attracted those dragon beasts. Suddenly he revealed a joyous look. He pulled the fishing rod, and an enormous violet dragon beast was fished up. This violet dragon beast struggled with all its might. It was terrified. Drag this violet-blooded dragon beast away and make it into a feast. The red-haired male chuckled. Suddenly his expression changed slightly. He turned towards a corner of the entire Ardent Fire Marquisdom. That place was slightly more remote, but there was a dazzling maelstrom of world energy and a faint golden light, causing the red-haired male to reveal a joyous look. Following that, he received a transmission from the array spirit, Yingshan Lai, whose son has been born. He is a void god at birth, and his mother is Rongxing Lan. The red-haired male guffawed at that moment. Ha! His laughter was like rolling thunder that reverberated across the horizon. Lai, who that brat is quite fertile. Becoming a void god at birth is something that has never happened in my Marquisdom Ardent Fire lineage. The red-haired male Marquis Ardent Fire was in a good mood. He casually swung his fishing rod, causing that violet-blooded dragon beast to fall back into the lake. Clearly, Marquis Ardent Fire was in a good mood, allowing that violet-blooded dragon beast to escape this calamity. Go. The red-haired male Marquis Ardent Fire directly teleported away. Being the highest ruler in the entire Marquisdom, even though the arrays suppressed and prohibited teleportation, he could easily control the arrays without being suppressed. And every single primal chaos giant could teleport, and they could easily rush over. The red-haired male Marquis Ardent Fire arrived in midair beside that small remote courtyard. Looking down at that round red fleshy ball that was releasing a golden light, and the house that was destroyed by the maelstrom of world energy, Marquis Ardent Fire glanced at Rongxing Lan, her daughter, and the female servant who were in a daze. It seems that the mother of this little prince of my Ardent Fire Marquisdom is quite ordinary. Grandpa Marquis. The 2 elders who had already rushed over respectfully greeted. The other experts who were nearby were startled too. They felt their hearts trembling as they greeted, Grandpa Marquis. Grandpa Marquis? Rongxing Lan, Yingshan Xiu, and the female servant who were still in a daze saw the figures rushing over in midair, including that red-haired male. The surrounding people were respectfully greeting him as Grandpa Marquis. Rongxing Lan and the others could naturally guess that this was the legendary existence in the entire Ardent Fire Marquisdom, the primal chaos existence they had never seen before, Marquis Ardent Fire. The elders were rushing over one by one. They were also passing down this important news. An unprecedented direct descendant of the Ardent Fire Marquisdom was born as a void god. Such a huge matter would naturally spread like wildfire. The eldest madam, Chanyu Yanzhen, had a status slightly higher than her husband within the marquisdom. After all, she was at the God Yuan Palace 4th level strength and came from an aristocratic clan. Her eldest son had even reached the Unity realm. With her status, she naturally received the news very quickly. Little sister Yanzhen, congratulations. I've heard that this child who is a void god at birth is the child of your husband, Yingshan Lai Hu. Little sister Yanzhen, Yan Zhen is the child of Ying Shanlai Hu and Rong Xinglan. He is a void god at birth. Her network quickly received 3 pieces of news in succession. This caused the expression of the eldest madam, Chan Yu Yanjin, to change. She was originally sitting in the hall waiting for Manager Tian to report back. What? Didn't Manager Tian send the medicine? Why did that lowly servant immediately give birth to a child? Furthermore, he is a void god at birth. Wasn't he previously a true god paragon? The red-robed girl, Chan Yu Yanzhen, was truly panicking at this moment. Even with her heart realm, she could not control the change in her expression. One could see how terrified she was. Because she was clear that a void god child had never appeared in the ardent fire marquisdom before. Grandpa Marquis would most likely pay close attention to this matter. Even the Ying Shan clan ancestral family would definitely send some higher-ups over. This was a huge matter for the entire Ying Shan clan. The moment they discovered what she did she want to do to the unborn child? She would be dead. The red-robed girl gritted her teeth before rushing out. Her figure had turned into an illusion. After all, the lineage of her husband, Ying Shanlai Hu, was staying in this region. If Manager Tian were to return, she could easily guess the route he would take. She would then rush over. Very soon, just 10 breaths of time later, the red-robed girl saw Manager Tian, who was currently walking over. Madam. Manager Tian respectfully greeted the moment he saw the madam. The gift has been sent. His identity was low. Even though he was a manager, he was still a servant. He did not know that the child in Rong Xinglan's stomach had been born, and that it was a void god. Oh. The red-robed girl chuckled. I'll go and see little sister Xinglan. Saying that, she brushed past Manager Tian. Manager Tian stood at his original position in a daze. After that, his body began shattering soundlessly. He turned into nothingness, leaving behind only the remains of items. Humph, you dare to defy me? Plot against me? The red-robed girl coldly laughed. But everything was a performance. She was doing this to prevent the matter from being exposed, allowing an ultra-strong expert to investigate everything. Hence, she had already begun destroying all evidence. This trash even said that the gift has been sent? If it has been sent, how could that Rong Xinglan give birth to a child who is so powerful? That lowly servant has gotten lucky. But with her lowly identity, she might not dare to complain to Grandpa Marquis and the elders. The red-robed girl was looking forward to this matter not being exposed. But she could not place her hopes on others. How can I, Chan Yu Yanzhen, fall just like this? The red-robed girl was proud and arrogant. After all, she was just a step away from becoming an elder in the residence. Previously, she had been relatively cautious when doing such a huge matter. At this moment, she was trying her best to recall and cover up all flaws. Naturally, the biggest flaw was that Manager Tian had been eliminated. Chapter 10:14. As the eldest Madame Chan Yu Yanzhen was trying her best to cover up all flaws, at the huge teleportation array within the Ardent Fire City. Wang. A distorted black hole-like maelstrom appeared within the teleportation array. 2 figures walked out from within. They were both wearing black robes with golden edges. They were looking in the direction of the marquisdom. Who would have thought that this lineage of Marquis Ardent Fire would actually produce a child who is a void god at birth? How rare. Before this, our Ying Shan clan has only produced 2 such geniuses, right? Both of them broke through to the Unity Realm very quickly. One of them reached the Primal Chaos Realm and opened the 9-Dragon Marquisdom. The other might be slightly weaker, but he has crossed through the God Yuan Palace 6th level. These 2 elders that came from the Ying Shan clan chatted with a smile. They were relatively envious. Because having such a formidable birth represented a powerful bloodline. The stronger the bloodline, the easier it would be to cultivate. Those with weaker bloodlines would feel like looking at flowers in a fog when they looked at their bloodline. It was blurry. And those with dense and powerful bloodlines would have their bloodlines clearly visible. The difficulty of cultivation would be 100 to 1,000 times easier. South, the 2 of them directly teleported over. The Ardent Fire City was too big and flying was too slow. The 2 elders from the ancestral family were sent over, and one of them could teleport. Very soon, the 2 of them arrived at the Ardent Fire Marquisdom. 2 elders from the ancestral family, please come over. A voice sounded by their ears. The array suppressing the 2 elders from the Ardent Fire Marquisdom was temporarily dispelled. Grandpa Marquis. The 2 elders from the ancestral family immediately teleported over. It was too easy to recognize. The maelstrom light pillar of the world energy was still conspicuous. That indistinct golden light could also be discerned. When the two elders from the ancestral family rushed over Marquis Ardent Fire, the elders from the marquisdom and many other Yingshan clan disciples with relatively high statuses and honored guests were watching from the surrounding. This courtyard was simply too small, and they could not fit everyone even if they descended. Two elders from the ancestral family, since you have come from afar, please wait a moment. This child will be coming out in a while. The red-robed male Marquis Ardent Fire stood by the side with a smile. Many people had already gathered around and they were all of high statuses. Those of low statuses did not dare to approach. The first Madame Chan Yu Yanzhen was also at the back of the crowd in midair. She saw that the elders and Master Ho were looking at the round red meatball with anticipation. She could not help but grit her teeth. We have to fix the last flaw as well. Buzz. Her face paled slightly before returning to normal. Time seemed to pass very slowly. At this moment, all the higher-ups in the Ardent Fire Marquisdom were looking downwards in anticipation. Rong Xinglan had long regained her rationality. She and her daughter Yingshan Shiyu were also looking forward. Hua! The round red meatball suddenly split open, revealing a child with red lips and white teeth. The child was only wearing a thin, skin-tight shirt. The aura emitted by this child was shockingly that of a void god. One could see the child who was only wearing a thin, skin-tight shirt. He was barefooted and had red lips and white teeth. He directly leaped in front of Rong Xinglan and knelt down. This child greets mother. Dongbua Shuiying kneeled willingly because he could sense what was happening outside through the void when he was in his mother's stomach. He had seen how his mother and sister fought against Manager Tian, and how his mother wept in despair. He could feel that his mother treated him more important than her life. Their feelings were mutual and Dongbua Shuiying respected this mother of his. As for that father of his in this life? He had been in the stomach for 15 years, yet that father had never come to see him even once. Currently he did not even know his father, much less talk about feelings. Good. Rong Xinglan excitedly pulled her child up. Seeing the chubby little arm, Rong Xinglan felt her heart melting. Her face was brimming with a smile. That was a joy that came from the bottom of her heart. Oh, this child is really filial. An elder from the ancestral family chuckled in midair. Marquis Ardent Fire also nodded with a smile. The group of higher-ups in the marquisdom began praising him at that moment. They did not find Dongbua Shuiying's intelligence strange at all. After all, even the more ordinary infants from the Yingshan clan had been in the womb for a few decades when they were born. Hence, their intelligence was extraordinary. Marquis Ardent Fire even announced with a clear laugh, Rong Xinglan, have you given this son of yours a name? Not yet. Rong Xinglan answered. Her status was low, and she was not qualified to choose a name previously. Usually it would be Yingshan Laihu who did. I've given myself a name. The child in her embrace leaped down. He was not afraid of the many cultivators in the sky. His voice was clear and reverberated in the surroundings. I'm called Snow Eagle. Snow Eagle? Yingshan Snow Eagle? Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled in the sky. This little fellow is extraordinary. He knows how to give himself a name the moment he was born. His talent is extraordinary. Naturally, he is different from ordinary people. The tall and thin ancestral family elder praised. Another slightly plump ancestral family elder chuckled as he took out a strange palm-sized golden weapon that looked like a hook. He directly threw it to Dongbua Shuiying. Little fellow Yingshan Snow Eagle, the few of us have come under orders to hand over the Yingshan Golden Order. The child extended his hand and caught this Yingshan Golden Order. He felt slightly curious and puzzled. This Yingshan Golden Order is something only the most important disciples of my Yingshan clan are qualified to receive. It is personally bestowed by old ancestor. Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled. Once you receive this command token, your status in my marquisdom will be equivalent to an elder within the marquisdom. You can even visit the ancestral family and read through the many scriptures there. The ancestral family will also send over many treasures. The surrounding crowd in midair were filled with envy. Because the marquisdom was too big, and the number of cultivators was too exaggerated, they were naturally divided into grades. The members of the marquisdom were divided into 6 classes. Most of the servants were practically at the lowest 6th class. Some of the madams, who had never given birth before, were also at the lowest 6th class. For instance, Rong Xinglan had given birth to a child before, and Yingshan Shiyu was a direct descendant. The two of them were at the 5th class. The 5th class was still very low. After all, they could be ranked at the 5th class just by being the leader of a servant. Even though the two of them had a higher status than the servants, they did not have the authority and could not control the servants. That was why that female servant disdained them. The 4th class meant that the servants had a very high status. Like Manager Tian, he was considered at the 4th class. Members of the marquisdom from the 4th class to the 6th class were the lower 3 classes. The 3rd class to the 1st class were the upper 3 classes. Only those in the upper 3 classes were qualified to represent the ardent fire marquisdom. The disciples of the ardent fire marquisdom. Only those in the upper 3 classes were qualified to call themselves aristocratic clan disciples when they walked outside. For instance, Ying Shanxi was just a true god. When she walked outside, she was just an ordinary commoner and was not qualified to call herself an aristocratic clan disciple. After all, the aristocratic clan had existed for many years and their bloodlines were numerous. If one was not outstanding enough, he would naturally not represent the aristocratic clan. Aristocratic clan disciples had many special privileges too. These privileges were set by the laws of the Southern Cloud Nation. Yingshan Golden Order? Equivalent to an elder? Furthermore, there are many special privileges in the ancestral family. Many people were filled with envy. The eldest Madame Chan Yu Yanzhen felt complicated. She was also an aristocratic clan disciple and was at the God Yuan Palace 4th level. Furthermore, she was married to Yingshan Lai Hu and was considered a part of the Yingshan clan. Only after operating for many years did she rise to the 2nd class. She was still 1 class away from this newborn child. Even though it was just a step, this step was huge. Because in the entire marquisdom, other than Grandpa Marquis, there were only a total of 15 elders. In other words, there were only these 15 elders who had the same status as this child. Rong Xinglan, you have contributed greatly and will be promoted to the 2nd class in the marquisdom. Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled. A mother's status would depend on her son's status. This was also the rule of the marquisdom. Many thanks, Grandpa Marquis. Rong Xinglan was incomparably excited. In the blink of an eye, she had reached the sky in a single step. In the future, she would have groups of servants and a large group of guards and guests when she went out. A hunchbacked elder from the marquisdom said, Rong Xinglan, how long have you been pregnant for? I've been pregnant for 15 years. Rong Xinglan immediately answered. The gestation period of every baby would be recorded. For a proud child like Dongbo Shuiying, it was even more so. 15 years? Marquis Ardent Fire was startled. Why is it so short? The 2 elders from the ancestral family felt puzzled too. It is too short. Just 15 years? Almost all the experts from the marquisdom felt startled. Because the more outstanding the child was, the longer he would stay in the womb. This was practically common knowledge. If Dongbo Shuiying stayed in the womb for 300 to 400 years, they would not be surprised. Instead, they were startled that he only stayed in the womb for 15 years. Originally, I wouldn't have come out so quickly. A clear voice sounded. At that moment, the gazes of all the higher-ups landed on the body of Dongbo Shuiying. Looking at this barefooted child with rosy lips and white teeth, this child was slightly angered. I was enjoying myself comfortably in my mother's womb when I heard someone called Manager Tian forcefully pouring a poisonous medicinal liquid into my mother's mouth. My mother could not resist against it even with her life on the line. I could sense everything happening outside and knew that something was amiss. That was why I immediately cut off my connection with the womb, forcing me to be born prematurely. If you don't believe me, you can check for yourself. What? Forced to be born prematurely? Poisonous liquid? Everyone present was greatly startled. Marquis Ardent Fire's expression turned ashen. There were even elders who reversed time to investigate. Even though they could not see the scene of Manager Tian being forced by the time-space interference, it was precisely because of this interference that made things abnormal. Furthermore, the reversal of time allowed them to ascertain that Dongbo Shuiying had only been pregnant for 15 years. Indeed, it has only been 15 years. To be able to nurture such a talent in 15 years, yet he was forced to be born in advance. If he was nurtured normally for hundreds or thousands of years, his bloodline would probably be much denser and he would be at the Unity Realm at birth. The hearts of everyone present trembled and there were even quite a few of them who were gritting their teeth. He was born at the Unity Realm? In the entire Southern Cloud Nation, those who were born at the Unity Realm could be counted with one's fingers. All of them were protected and nurtured with all their might, and all of them could easily reach the Primal Chaos Realm. All of them were extraordinary, and there were as many as 2 conferred kings. How dare you? The tall and thin elder from the ancestral family furiously roared, "My Ying Shan clan has such a proud son of heaven, yet he was forced to give birth in just 15 years. Otherwise, little fellow Ying Shan Snow Eagle's future would be much brighter. Marquis Ardent Fire, there is actually someone in your marquisdom who dares to violate the rules of my Ying Shan clan." Marquis Ardent Fire was similarly furious. "Where is Ying Shan Lihu? Where is this father?" Marquis Ardent Fire was furious. He suddenly swept his gaze across the place, yet he could not see his son at all. He should still be in the Misty Cloud restaurant," an old man at the side said in a low voice. Ying Shan Lihu was weak and he spent his time in places of pleasure. The true elites and higher-ups within the clan disdained to interact with him. Naturally, none would specially transmit a message to him. The child had already been born, yet the father was still enjoying himself in a place of pleasure. That was indeed a joke. But there were already 340 children, and Ying Shan Lihu did not care about it at all. "Investigate for me, investigate, find out who exactly did it. Also, capture that fool Ying Shan Lihu back for me." The voice of Marquis Ardent Fire reverberated in the sky. Nobody dared to make a sound. Chanyu Yenjin felt her heart trembling. Chapter 10:15. The Misty Cloud Pavilion was the biggest money-squandering establishment in the entire Ardent Fire City. Many aristocratic clan disciples and cultivators loved coming here. As long as one had enough cosmos crystals, the Misty Cloud Pavilion would help them find even rarer treasures. On a sealed battle platform, 2 true god rulers were currently fighting. Their combat strength was great and they could fight against void gods. And around the battle platform, there were many aristocratic clan disciples and powerful cultivators scattered around. Almost all of them brought along their servants and beautiful attendants. Even those powerful cultivators who came alone would have 1 or 2 beauties from the Misty Cloud Pavilion pouring wine and serving them. Very soon the battle ended. One won, and the other's body eventually crumbled and could no longer condense again. True gods could only be considered ordinary. Even Ying Shan Shiyu, who had the bloodline of an aristocratic clan, could only be considered a commoner because she was just a true god. Much less those with worse backgrounds. They could only do the lowest of jobs. If they were lucky they could live peacefully. If they were unlucky they might offend a big character and lose their lives. Hence, those who were truly ambitious would do their best to become an expert. On the other hand, stepping onto the life and death arena was a path that was extremely risky but also extremely rewarding. In every battle, one side would definitely die, while the surviving side would earn a large number of chaos gems. With resources, one's cultivation would naturally be much faster. Truly trash. Wasting so much of my effort. He is completely useless. Ying Shan Lihu fiercely threw the cup in his hand. He gritted his teeth in anger. "Prince Lihu, calm down. In a while I'll help you find a good guest. He will definitely not be as useless as this trash." A beauty who was feeding him wine softly said, "Fu, you said this the previous time. Do you think I dare to believe you this time?" Ying Shan Lihu turned around. He lifted the chin of this beauty with his finger. Almost all the girls who came to serve in the Misty Cloud Pavilion had cultivated some bewitching techniques. Even powerful cultivators could not help but immerse themselves in this land of warmth. It was truly an enjoyment. "Prince Lihu, rest assured. Fu will find him first. After finding him you can go and have a look. Fu is really sad that you don't believe Fu at all." As Ying Shan Lihu was flirting with the beauty, a plump male suddenly came walking on the cloud path. This plump male laughed heartily from afar. "Haha, Prince Ying Shan Lihu, congratulations." "Congratulations?" Ying Shan Lihu was startled. He felt overwhelmed by the favor. Some aristocratic clan disciples and powerful cultivators in the surroundings were slightly startled because they recognized the person who came was the master of the Misty Cloud Pavilion. He was also a famous character in the entire Ardent Fire City, Chun Yufeng. Chun Yufeng's elder brother, Chun Yu Wei, was one of the 2 big shots in the entire Ardent Fire City. The other giant was naturally Marquis Ardent Fire. Chun Yu Wei managed the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace, that was filled with experts. The number of experts in the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace was much higher than the Ardent Fire Marquisdom because the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace represented the king. More importantly, the sleeping incarnation of the cosmos god protecting the Ardent Fire City was none other than the old ancestor of the Chunyu clan, Monarch Chunyu. That's right, the Chunyu clan was one of the 4 strongest clans in the Southern Cloud Nation. It was a clan that gave birth to a cosmos god. The imperial family and the three great emperor clans were the four great clans. Comparatively speaking, the Ying Shan clan was weaker by a level. That old mother Ying Shan, from the Ying Shan clan, was merely a conferred king. Hence, being the younger brother of Chun Yu Wei, the person who managed the biggest money-squandering establishment in the Ardent Fire City, the Chun Yu Feng, had an extremely high status. He could even sit on the same level as those elders from the Ardent Fire Marquisdom. Ying Shan Lai, who was merely a true god ruler, was someone that the master of the Misty Rain Pavilion, Chun Yu Feng, did not have to care about. Pavilion Master Chun Yu, are you congratulating me? Ying Shan Lai, who also stood up. He was slightly overwhelmed by the favor. Don't you know? The plump Chun Yu Pavilion Master widened his eyes in astonishment. Your Ardent Fire Marquisdom is currently having a joyous matter. The wife of you, Ying Shan Lai, who, Rong Xinglan, has given birth to a child for you, and he is a void god at birth. Ying Shan Lai, who did not care much when he heard about the birth of a child. But the moment he heard the three words void god, he became stunned. A void god was not considered much. But for a newborn to be a void god, that was terrifying. This represented an incomparably frightening and dense bloodline. My child? Ying Shan Lai, who widened his eyes. What? The child of Ying Shan Lai, who is a void god at birth? Is this real or fake? How could this be possible? The surrounding aristocratic clan disciples broke into an uproar when they heard that. The majority of them were sent over by the aristocratic clan to the Ardent Fire City to handle some businesses. Their statuses within the clan were not considered high. But they were not any weaker than Ying Shan Lai, who. Now that they heard that trash Ying Shan Lai, who actually gave birth to a child who was a void god at birth, they were stunned. My child is a void god at birth? The child of me, Ying Shan Lai, who? Ying Shan Lai, who was extremely excited. He once wanted to become an expert like his father. But his talent and comprehension ability were lacking. He was also a child of his father when his father was weaker, and his bloodline was weak too. He could not cultivate and could not become a void god. Hence, he had long given up on himself and relied on his identity to enjoy life. Rong Xinglan? Ying Shan Lai, who recalled. That was the woman whom he snatched into the marquisdom because of her beauty. Previously, she gave birth to a daughter named Ying Shan Shiyu, and he had never seen her before. He wanted to transmit a message to Rong Xinglan. But he discovered that he did not record down the communication imprint of Rong Xinglan. Madam. Ying Shan Lai, who immediately transmitted a message to his eldest wife, Chan Yu Yanzhen. Xinglan gave birth to a child for me, and he is a void god at birth? Yes, you should hurry back. Grandpa Marquis has become angry. Chan Yu Yanzhen gave a simple reply. At this moment, she was not in the mood to talk too much with her husband. Ha. Ying Shan Lai, who suddenly guffawed. His laughter was clear and resounded across this enormous palace. The son of Ying Shan Lai, who is a void god at birth, ha. Brother Lai, who, congratulations. Brother Lai, who, admirable. Some of his scoundrels and those who originally looked down on Ying Shan Lai, who were congratulating him at this moment. Ying Shan Lai, who guffawed. He turned around and waved his robe. Go, let's return to the marquisdom. Yes, master. The group of servants behind him responded. Their voices were much louder than before. The servants were all in high spirits. They left the misty cloud pavilion. Ying Shan Lai, who sat on the carriage with his head held high. The servants were also waiting on the carriage. The mutated beasts pulled the carriage across the sky at high speed towards the marquisdom. Just the time taken to brew a cup of tea. South, a gray-robed old man appeared in midair. Clearly he was currently teleporting over. The moment he saw Ying Shan Lai, who, he shouted, Ying Shan Lai, who, Grandpa Marquis has asked you to hurry and meet him. Follow me. It's Elder Tian? Good. Ying Shan Lai, who was very passionate. The gray-robed old man had a cold expression. He grabbed Ying Shan Lai, who, and directly teleported over. Before Ying Shan Lai, who was taken away, he even ordered, bring this treasured carriage of mine back. No, I'll have to change this carriage when I return. Ying Shan Lai, who was already thinking of a better life in the future. So, under the teleportation very soon, the gray-robed old man brought Ying Shan Lai, who back to the marquisdom. They arrived at the core where Grandpa Marquis stayed. Wait here. The gray-robed old man brought Ying Shan Lai, who down. What is going on? Ying Shan Lai, who looked ahead. The surrounding protectors all had cold expressions. The atmosphere was even slightly stifling. Even the gray-robed old man did not smile. Isn't it a joyous occasion? What is going on? Why is it so frightening? Ying Shanlai, who shrunk his head as he looked around him. He rarely came to the place of his father. After all, he was not qualified to come if his father did not summon him. Elder Tian, where is that son of mine? Ying Shanlai, who could not help but ask. He was the son of a void god at birth. Currently he was slightly vexed that he did not visit him more often. But no matter what, he was still his son. Prince Snow Eagle is currently together with Grandpa Marquis. The gray-robed old man said. Suddenly, a roar came from the distant palace hall. Capture that venomous woman Chan Yu Yenjun for me. Ying Shanlai, who was frightened by this roar to the point his legs turned soft. Chan Yu Yenjun? Wasn't she his wife? Chapter 10:16. Within the palace hall. The red-haired male Marquis Ardent Fire sat at the highest position. By his sides were the two elders from the ancestral family and the elders from the marquisdom. Naturally, there was also Rong Xinglan, who was hugging her son. Rong Xinglan was slightly trembling. After all, she felt her legs turning soft after sitting together with Grandpa Marquis and the elders. And Dongbo Shuiying could only forcefully endure it. With his heart realm, it was not hard for him to act like a child. It was just slightly awkward. I'll endure it for now, Dongbo Shuiying thought. Let that fool in. Marquis Ardent Fire glanced at Ying Shanlai, who was waiting obediently outside the palace hall. Even though this son was slightly trash, he was still a child he had when he was weak. Marquis Ardent Fire was very sentimental and had personally arranged for a good marriage for his son. He had also transferred many resources to his son. Even though his son's bloodline was weak, he still hoped that his son could rise. It's a pity that this son had always been enjoying himself. Marquis Ardent Fire was slightly disappointed. Emin, this is that father of mine? Dongbo Shuiying also saw the middle-aged male who entered. Facing the atmosphere within the palace hall, he could not help but bend his waist slightly. You stand there for me? Marquis Ardent Fire roared. Yes. Ying Shanlai, who did not dare to disobey. He obediently stood there without uttering a word. But he could not help but turn towards that woman sitting by the side and the child in her embrace. That child was currently observing him without the slightest bit of reverence. I am his father, yet he dares to look at me like this? I must teach him a good lesson. No, I can't defeat him. He is a void god at birth. Ying Shanlai, who suddenly felt bitter in his heart. I'm afraid the protectors and servants arranged by the marquisdom for him will be much stronger than mine. He is merely a child. I am ultimately his father. In the future, as long as I coax him more, he will definitely become closer to me. Ying Shanlai, who planned inwardly, the treasures he will obtain will definitely be much more than mine. By then I'll be able to enjoy myself endlessly. If one were to say that he still had the fighting spirit to cultivate in the past, but after being corroded by the long years of enjoyment, he no longer had any ambition. Phew. A figure was thrown into the palace hall. It was none other than the red-robed girl Chan Yu Yenjun. At this moment, Chan Yu Yenjun fell down in a sorry state. She looked up and saw Marquis Ardent Fire sitting high above. She saw the elder from the ancestral family, the elder from the marquisdom, and that lowly servant Rong Xinglan who was carrying a child. Master Marquis. Chan Yu Yenjun hurriedly stood up. She was extremely respectful. No matter how arrogant she was, she had to behave herself at this moment. You are truly daring. You even dare to violate the rules of the Yingshan clan. Marquis Ardent Fire coldly said, You actually dared to force a pregnant woman of my Yingshan clan to drink the poisonous medicinal liquid, causing the child with the most extraordinary bloodline to be born prematurely. He was born in just 15 years. He became a void god in 15 years. If he were to continue nurturing normally, not only him, the two elders of the Zong clan and the surrounding elders of the Marquis Manor were all staring at Chan Yu Yenjun in anger. The stronger the family, the higher the status of a member of the family. This Chan Yu Yenjun had caused the talented Yingshan Snow Eagle to be unable to stay in the womb for a long period because of her. If she were to stay for a few hundred years, her bloodline would be even denser, and her potential would be much higher. It was all because of this venomous woman. Poisonous medicinal liquid? Born in just 15 years? Ying Shanlai, who stared at Chan Yu Yenjun with wide eyes. How could this be? Why was this madam of his so daring? Even though he, Ying Shanlai, who had many women, strictly speaking, he only had a single wife, Chan Yu Yenjun. This was a marriage that his father, Marquis Ardent Fire, sought for him. It was a genuine betrothal gift, a formal marriage, and a banquet was held. Chan Yu Yenjun was also a disciple from an aristocratic family, and she was at the Unity realm. Hence, he would usually feel short of breath when facing his wife. As for other women, many of them were directly snatched over and their statuses were low. Within the marquisdom, those women were usually at the lowest, 6th grade, similar to the female servants. Only by giving birth to a child could their statuses rise. Hence, Ying Shanlai who did not care about those women at all. They were merely used by him to vent his emotions. His feelings towards those women could not even compare to Fu from the Misty Cloud Pavilion. He would frequently pamper Fu. Instead, it was the several hundred women of his that he rarely met. His wife actually did such a thing? Ying Shanlai who did not dare believe it. No, I didn't. Chan Yu Yanzhen anxiously said, Grandpa Marquis, please investigate clearly. Ever since Yanzhen left the Chanyu clan and married into the Yingshan clan, she has always been careful and did not dare to violate the rules of the Yingshan clan. The matter regarding the poisonous medicinal liquid is unrelated to me. There must be someone who wants to destroy the future genius disciple of my Yingshan clan. Hence he sent that Manager Tian and framed me. I am innocent. Manager Tian should be killed by you, right? Marquis Ardent Fire looked down at Chan Yu Yanzhen. I discovered that a servant of his dared to scheme against me. That was why I killed him out of anger. Chan Yu Yanzhen said. This was the only thing she did that was not clean. After all, the time was too short and she could only act personally. Your hands are quite clean. Those who are involved in this matter are either dead or unaware of it. Marquis Ardent Fire looked at Chan Yu Yanzhen, yet you are still reluctant to admit it. There must be someone scheming behind the scenes, framing me. Chan Yu Yanzhen added. Marquis Ardent Fire looked at her coldly. With a single order, he had already investigated everything that could be investigated. Even though there were treasures that could interfere with time-space, there were still experts within the marquisdom who could disregard such interference and investigate the past. It's a pity that all clues were cut off. Those who died or disappeared. But the source of everything seemed to point towards Chan Yu Yanzhen. Only the matter regarding Manager Tian was done in the most direct manner. It was done by Chan Yu Yanzhen personally. If it was a weak disciple that was not noticed by Marquis Ardent Fire, this matter would most likely be covered up. But after all, it was a talented existence like Ying Shan Snow Eagle. 2 elders from the ancestral family. Marquis Ardent Fire looked at the 2 elders by the side. This venomous woman still does not admit to it. Alright, I'll have to trouble the 2 elders from the ancestral family to bring her back to the ancestral family to investigate her soul. Alright. The 2 elders from the ancestral family nodded. Chan Yu Yanzhen turned pale. Oh. The tall and thin elder from the ancestral family extended his hand. He directly enveloped Chan Yu Yanzhen with an unseen power before keeping her into his Eden treasure. Ying Shanlai who looked at everything with shock. He did not dare to utter a word. Snow Eagle. Marquis Ardent Fire turned to Dongbo Shuiying. He revealed a grin at that moment and said with a chuckle. Grandpa Marquis. Dongbo Shuiying immediately jumped down from the thigh of his mother. His voice was clear. Seeing this chubby little child in front of him, Marquis Ardent Fire's mood became great. He chuckled, I've arranged a protector captain for you. He will definitely protect you well. Saying that, Marquis Ardent Fire looked outside the palace. A gray-robed old man immediately walked in. This is Elder Tian Yi. Other than me he will only listen to your orders. Marquis Ardent Fire said. Prince Snow Eagle. The gray-robed old man respectfully greeted with a smile. Are you very formidable? Still all right. The gray-robed old man was not arrogant at all. He had completely immersed himself into the role of the protector captain. Marquis Ardent Fire waved his hand again. At that moment 2 black lights flew out. They landed on the ground and turned into 2 black mutated beasts. Their fur was glossy and their eyes were blood red. They were emitting an aura at the Unity realm. This pair are both black stream cloud wolves. This pair of black stream cloud wolves abruptly turned into human form. The 2 black-robed young men bowed at the same time. Greetings, master. After a moment, everything was arranged properly. Alright, go. Have a look at the residence I've arranged for the 2 of you. Also, remember to visit the book repository pavilion and have a look. Tell me after you have decided on your path of cultivation. Marquis Ardent Fire said. Yes, Grandpa Marquis. Dongbo Shuiying said with a clear voice, then I'll be leaving first. Let us go. Saying that, he called out to his mother. He directly sat on a black stream cloud wolf. Elder Tian and the other black stream cloud wolf also left. You should go back and reflect on yourself. Only then did Marquis Ardent Fire reprimand Ying Shanlai, who could only obediently acknowledge. He felt helpless in his heart since he came here only to be reprimanded. The two elders from the ancestral family within the palace hall also stood up. It is time for us to return. This little fellow Snow Eagle has extraordinary potential. This time he was forced to be born prematurely and it is truly painful. But this also represents that he has an extremely high potential. I'll report this to Old Ancestor, and by then, he will be bestowed with more precious treasures. Who knows, he might even be able to nurture his bloodline. The tall and thin elder from the ancestral family said. Amen, I'll also properly groom him. Marquis Ardent Fire nodded. The Ardent Fire Marquisdom occupied a huge area. It was simply a city within a city. Grandpa Marquis, the elders, and the countless disciples that had reproduced over 1 trillion years lived here. This marquisdom was naturally huge and there were many residences within. The residence that was arranged for Dongbua Shuiying was not any weaker than that of an elder. This little Prince Shuiying, who was doted on by everyone, was currently barefooted, happily running around the mansion. There were many servants within the residence, and a large group of protectors guarding the surroundings. His mother Rong Xinglan and sister Ying Shanxiu had also moved here. This residence was much bigger than Ying Shanlai Hu's and Chan Yu Yenjin's previous residences. Go, Grandpa Marquis asked me to go to the book repository pavilion. He mentioned that there are many books there and I haven't seen them yet. Go. Dongbua Shuiying directly leaped up. He sat on the black stream cloud wolf. Go. The two black stream cloud wolves immediately rushed into the sky. Elder Tian easily followed behind. There was also a team of 9 protectors following behind. These 9 were personal guards and all of them were at the Unity Realm. Whoa! They whistled as they flew above the marquisdom. Some of the other disciples within the marquisdom made way when they saw them. That is the little Prince Snow Eagle. It's him? He is a void god at birth. Look, even Elder Tian has become his protector. There were all sorts of discussions going on in the distance. Dongbua Shuiying did not care. At this moment he was sitting on the back of the black stream cloud wolf in a contented manner. His gaze landed on a towering tall building in the distance. That was the book repository pavilion. The book repository pavilion contained many absolute arts from the lowest level to the highest level. There were strict requirements to enter the higher levels, and the number of times one could enter was limited too. But as for Dongbua Shuiying, he could casually browse through the entire book repository pavilion for as long as he wanted. This is my destination. Dongbua Shuiying was not as casual in his heart as he appeared on the surface. He attached great importance to this book repository pavilion. Only by relying on this book repository pavilion can I truly understand the distribution of organizations in the realm Heart Great Land and the level of experts. Only by understanding everything can I determine a suitable path of growth for myself. Go, hurry up. The black stream cloud wolf directly rushed down towards that book repository pavilion. The protectors by the entrance of the book repository pavilion saw it from afar. Black stream cloud wolf? Elder Tian? That is the little Prince Snow Eagle. The protectors by the entrance and even the hidden experts did not dare to obstruct him. They could only shout from afar, Prince Snow Eagle, you can enter, but the protectors cannot. Chapter 10:17. Those protectors and hidden experts in the book repository pavilion let out a sigh of relief because little Snow Eagle did not cause a ruckus. He directly leapt down from the black stream cloud wolf and entered the book repository pavilion. Elder Tian, the 2 black stream cloud wolves, and the 9 personal protectors were waiting outside. They felt reassured since the book repository pavilion was an extremely safe place. Searching for books. The moment he entered, he saw many rows of bookshelves. There were many unique books placed on the bookshelves. They were emitting a mysterious aura. Dongbua Shuiying casually flipped through a few books the moment he entered. He then proceeded to flip through the other books. Looking here and there, he seemed to be reading every single book for a moment. Look, that is little Prince Snow Eagle. He is a void god at birth. Even though the information in these books is transmitted into his soul the moment he flipped through them, allowing him to understand them directly, the first level of the book repository pavilion is filled with the most ordinary books. But the first floor of the library is filled with the most ordinary books. Is he wasting his time here? Some of the disciples of the Marquis's mansion noticed this scene and chatted with each other via voice transmission. They did not dare to say it loudly for fear of angering this little Prince Snow Eagle who did not understand the ways of the world. They then continued flipping through the books. The first level was filled with miscellaneous books with low value. They were merely flipping through them for the sake of finding traces of ancient historical remains. Prince Snow Eagle, if you want to find cultivation books, you can go to the second or third level. The higher you go, the more valuable the books will be. At that moment, a disciple from the marquisdom came over. He wanted to get familiar with the other party. Many thanks. Dongbo Shuang did not even raise his head. He casually waved his hand, and that disciple from the marquisdom could only awkwardly retreat. He flipped through the books here and there. It did not seem like he was reading. Even though those who were paying attention to Dongbo Shuang in the dark felt speechless, they gradually became too lazy to care about him. There are too many books. There are all sorts of miscellaneous books and even some fragmented cultivation techniques. Dongbo Shuang was slightly speechless. After all, the marquisdom had existed for a long time. This book repository pavilion was naturally filled with a vast amount of books. Even with Dongbo Shuang's fast speed, he still spent more than 2 hours before he found the book he wanted. Found it. Dongbo Shuang flipped through a thick gray book and his eyes lit up. The very first page caused his eyes to light up. This book described the various nations in the realm Heart Great Land. After all, the realm Heart Great Land was too big and there were many nations. Even primal chaos giants had not been to many places before. There were even some powerful cultivators who were determined to traverse through every single place in the entire realm Heart Great Land before recording it down for their juniors to read. Good heavens! Looking at it, Dongbo Shuang sucked in a breath of cold air. Cultivation in the realm Heart Great Land far surpassed that in the primal chaos void. The bloodline cultivation system was the #1 system across the entire realm Heart Great Land. There were many cultivators, and they could allow their children to be extremely powerful the moment they were born. The most outstanding children could even reach the Unity realm at birth. A cosmos god could similarly have several hundred to 1,000 children. During cultivation, there were many absolute arts that complemented the bloodline cultivation system. As for the laws and profound mysteries system, witchcraft cultivation system, ancient cultivation system, and other systems, they had long existed here. Moreover, they were much more developed. There were even those like Myriad Realm Tavern Master and Mount Chimay who could refine avatars. But it seemed to be a secret importation technique here too. Isn't this too powerful? Dongbo Shuang became more and more startled as he read. Realm Heart Great Land. It existed for a much longer period than the primal chaos void, and its foundation was naturally deeper. Furthermore, there was no mention of a great apocalypse. It had existed for an unknown period of time. One could only ascertain that there had been 2 wars of the ancient nations since ancient times. During the war, many nations were destroyed, causing the world to shatter. Many experts fell and large batches of cosmos gods fell, and now, there were a total of more than 150 nations in the realm Heart Great Land. This book did not specify the exact number because some of the smaller nations would occasionally emerge or be destroyed. Hence, the number of nations would usually fluctuate. Deducing from this book, there should be close to 1,000 cosmos gods in the realm Heart Great Land currently. Dongbo Shuang was startled as he read. Including those that fell in the history of the primal chaos void, there should only be more than 30 cosmos gods. And the realm Heart Great Land was roughly 30 times that of the primal chaos void. That was normal. The 6 strongest nations have a long history. At the very least, they have dozens of cosmos gods, and at the very most, they have more than 100 cosmos gods. Dongbo Shuang sighed. The 6 great ancient nations should have more than 500 cosmos gods in total. The other 100 or so nations were comparatively weaker. For instance, the Southern Cloud Nation was considered a Tier 2 nation. It had at least 4 cosmos gods, and the Southern Cloud King was even more famous in the realm Heart Great Land. Those truly weak nations would usually only have 1 or 2 weaker cosmos gods. It was possible that a battle between cosmos gods would cause such a nation to fall apart. Yuan? Dongbo Shuang also saw the description of Yuan in the book. He could not help but tremble. Yuan, he was publicly acknowledged as the #1 expert in the realm Heart Great Land. During the First and Second War of the Ancient Nations, the Yuan dynasty intervened and the 6 great ancient nations stopped the war. Yuan constructed many God Yuan palaces scattered across the realm Heart Great Land. The God Yuan Palace was split into 10 levels. The God Yuan Palace is similar to the Star Pagoda? Dongbo Shuang vaguely deduced from the description. The God Yuan Palace and the Star Pagoda seem to divide strength the same? But the Star Pagoda has 9 levels and the God Yuan Palace has 10 levels. Furthermore, the research on cultivation techniques and combat secret techniques in the realm Heart Great Land far surpasses that of the Primal Chaos Void. Dongbo Shuiying felt slightly fearful. According to the description in the book, at the Unity Realm, if one merely researched on the laws and profound mysteries, they could reach the God Yuan Palace 7th level. But by relying on external forces and secret techniques, a Unity Realm expert could unleash a strength at the God Yuan Palace 8th level. Primal Chaos Realm experts usually reach the God Yuan Palace 9th level. But by relying on external forces and secret techniques, they could unleash a strength at the God Yuan Palace 10th level, and could even suppress new cosmos gods. A Primal Chaos Realm expert could suppress a new cosmos god? Dongbo Shuiying praised. And where he came from. The limit of the Primal Chaos Realm was the 9th level. It was amazing for one to survive against a cosmos god. To suppress them? Heavily injure them? That was a dream. But it was possible in the realm Heart Great Land. Even though this book introduced the various nations, 1/3 of it was praising the Southern Cloud Nation. The Southern Cloud Nation was indeed proud. Even though it was a Tier 2 nation, the religion created by the Southern Cloud King, the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion, was one of the 10 great religions with the most cultivators in the entire realm Heart Great Land. This also made the Southern Cloud King famous. Many cultivators from the 6 great ancient nations came here after much hardship just to listen to the teachings of the Southern Cloud King. So powerful. Dongbo Shuiying felt his heart trembling as he read through the introduction of many absolute arts. Many absolute arts reduced the difficulty of cultivation. If one wanted to spread their religion, the difficulty of cultivation had to be low, and the cultivator had to be strong enough. Because the competition was too intense, some of the more complex absolute arts created by cosmos gods were not willing to learn. And the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion was famous for its rapid improvement in cultivation. It had even become one of the 10 great religions in the realm Heart Great Land. This is madness. This is madness. Shuiying finally understood what Yuan meant by having a deeper foundation. How deep was it? His hometown was clearly much cruder in terms of cultivation. Chapter 10:18. Dongbo Shuiying searched for similar books within the book repository pavilion. Only after half a month did he stop reading. During this half a month, traces of historical remains, Scarlet Bull Palace treasures, there were many records of various historical remains in the book repository pavilion. But Dongbo Shuiying could guess that most of them were useless. Those that were recorded should have long been known by others. In the too horrifying war of the ancient nations, many experts fell, including batches of cosmos gods. For instance, Scarlet Bull Palace Master was one of the most famous existences that died. Dozens of cosmos gods had died in his hands. Dongbo Shuiying deduced that he should be at the level of Sacred Master. This made Dongbo Shuiying understand that there were quite a few Sacred Masters who fell in the history of Realm Heart Great Land. There were probably even more who were still alive. Such a terrifying Realm Heart Great Land. Dongbo Shuiying muttered inwardly. Even though it was an origin world like the Primal Chaos Void, its foundation was much deeper. No wonder Yuan left behind an opportunity for his descendants to enter the Realm Heart Great Land. There should be more than one like me who reincarnated into the Realm Heart Great Land. Dongbo Shuiying sighed inwardly. Furthermore, it seems the smaller nations aren't too safe. Dongbo Shuiying discovered the danger from this. The Southern Cloud Nation was located south of the 6 great ancient nations, Summer Wind Ancient Nation. South of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation all the way to the Black Prisonine Sea, there were a total of 4 nations and a huge lake. That great lake. It was a famous danger ground in the entire Realm Heart Great Land. The space here was chaotic. Previously, one could be at this location, yet with a single step, one could be 1,000,000,000,000 kilometers away. Hence, this place became the hiding place for many great devils. Many devils from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation and other places in the Realm Heart Great Land gathered here too. Hence, this place was called the Black Devil Great Lake. The surrounding 4 nations were also known as the Black Devil 4 Nations. The Black Devil Great Lake was huge. It was not any smaller than a nation. There were many devils here and close to 10 cosmos gods. It was one of the most famous gathering places for devils across the entire Realm Heart Great Land. It was hard for the 6 great ancient nations to eliminate them. For instance, the Southern Cloud Nation had the Southern Cloud King. Hence, few devils from the Black Devil Great Lake came to cause trouble. Like the fiery Zhao nation, which was also one of the Black Devil Four nations, even though they had 3 cosmos gods, they did not have the deterrence of Southern Cloud King. Hence, the fiery Zhao nation had practically become the backyard of the Black Devil Great Lake. Devils frequently wreaked havoc, and it was common for cities to be destroyed. Even the fiery Zhao Emperor could only endure it, because the previous fiery Zhao Emperor had died at the hands of a demon from the Black Devil Lake. Even though the Southern Cloud Nation was much better, there were still some battles with the Black Devil Great Lake. It's just that cosmos gods would not casually act. Danger lurks everywhere. Dongbo Shuang shook his head. Nations were fought for with strength. For instance, the Snow Hook Nation of the Black Devil Four nations had a total of 5 cosmos gods. They were incredibly powerful, and the Snow Hook King was an extremely crazy person. He was not willing to endure against the ancient nations, and had fought with 3 great ancient nations. Even though many died in his nation, the Snow Hook King was sufficiently formidable in survival, allowing the nation to survive. Truly amazing. He fought with the 3 great ancient nations, yet a Tier 2 nation like the Snow Hook Nation could still stand until now. Dongbo Shuang sighed inwardly. Both the Southern Cloud King and Snow Hook King were absolute overlords. But the Southern Cloud King was much gentler. He befriended various parties and spread his absolute art. He had many disciples in the 6 great ancient nations. Hence, the Southern Cloud Nation was comparatively the most stable. Dongbo Shuang placed down the scripture. He made his decision in his heart. From what I read these few days, the most suitable absolute art for me to cultivate is the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. The Southern Cloud sacred religion was one of the 10 great religions in Realm Heart Great Land. One had to know that there were quite a few cosmos gods at the level of Sacred Master, yet the Southern Cloud sacred religion could still be ranked among the 10 great religions. The reason why the Southern Cloud sacred religion was so famous was because of an absolute art created by the Southern Cloud King, the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. It was so famous that most cultivators who were slightly stronger in the Realm Heart Great Land would know of this absolute art. In the Southern Cloud Nation almost everyone knew of it. I have stimulated my void bloodline, and my accumulations in the void are quite deep. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. This Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles is a void-related absolute art. Void. Time and space were things that any cultivator could sense at a very early stage. As long as one was a true god, they could control time and space to a certain extent. To the Realm Heart Great Land, which had many true gods, it was relatively easy to grasp a void-related absolute art. In addition to how powerful it was, one could easily grasp teleportation after cultivating it to a very deep stage. Hence, the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles had the innate potential to spread far and wide. Naturally, there were many void-related absolute arts too. The reason why it could spread far and wide was because it was relatively easy to cultivate. By the lake, Marquis Ardent Fire was currently angling. Dongbo Shuang rode on the black stream Cloud Wolf and rapidly arrived. Elder Tian and the other personal guards were watching from afar. Dongbo Shuang leaped down and said, "Grandpa Marquis, I've read through quite a few books in the book repository pavilion and have decided on what I should cultivate." "What are you planning to cultivate?" The red-haired male Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled at Dongbo Shuang. Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Dongbo Shuang did not hesitate. This is the most famous absolute art of my Southern Cloud Nation, and is also created by the king. It is suitable for those who are talented in the void. Marquis Ardent Fire looked at Dongbo Shuang. The surrounding void around Dongbo Shuang abruptly fluctuated. Many void ripples appeared. Marquis Ardent Fire's eyes brightened when he saw that, since you have awakened a void-related bloodline, then there shouldn't be any problems. In my Southern Cloud Nation, there are many who cultivate the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Even though it is easy to cultivate, there are very few who could reach a profound realm. You should also focus on cultivating it. Fortunately, my Marquisdom has quite a few cultivators who cultivate the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Dongbo Shuang naturally understood. He was from the Southern Cloud Nation, and it was he who activated this void bloodline. He originally had the accumulation of the void. That was why he chose to cultivate this absolute art. Even though this absolute art was relatively easy to cultivate, it was only relatively. The path of cultivation was ultimately bumpy. But to reach the Unity Realm 8th level, the difficulty would most likely be equivalent to reaching the Unity Realm 7th level back in the Primal Chaos Void. But Dongbo Shuang did not care. Even if he walked the path of the laws and profound mysteries, he was confident of reaching the 9th level. Are you going to learn it now? Marquis Ardent Fire asked. Yes. Dongbo Shui-ing immediately answered. Alright, let's go. I'll bring you to the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. Marquis Ardent Fire said. Marquis Ardent Fire looked at the distant Elder Tian and the others. He ordered, all of you should first return to the residence of Snow Eagle and wait. In a while I'll personally send him back. Yes, Grandpa Marquis. Everyone present obeyed. Let us go. Marquis Ardent Fire brought along Dongbo Shui-ing. A red-haired male brought along a little doll. They directly tore through the void and left the marquisdom. Soon they arrived at the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace within the Ardent Fire City. The Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. Even in the 6 great ancient nations, there would be a Southern Cloud Sacred Palace located in slightly bigger cities. It accepted cultivators from all over the world to cultivate here. But if one wanted to cultivate to the highest level, most would have to come to the Southern Cloud Nation. And within the Southern Cloud Nation, other than teaching disciples, the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace was also a unique organization that recruited powerful cultivators. Joining the Sacred Palace represented pledging allegiance to the king, and they would obtain all sorts of special benefits. And the one managing the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace within the Ardent Fire City was one of the 2 giants of the city, Chun Yu Wei. Who? A red-haired male and a little doll stood by the entrance of the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. Grandpa Marquis is here personally? A tall and thin male wearing gray armor walked out. As he walked, his entire body felt like a blade cutting apart the void. Wherever he passed, the void would ripple to both sides. His gaze landed on Dongbo Shui-ing. He chuckled, this should be the Yingshan Snow Eagle little prince, right? He is a void god at birth and is amazing. Grandpa Marquis has brought him over to my place? Snow Eagle has decided to join the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion. Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled too. Good. Come, let's talk in detail. Chun Yu Wei enthusiastically led the way. Chapter 10-19. Ardent Fire City, within a side hall of the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. Chun Yu Wei and Marquis Ardent Fire were seated by the 2 sides. Each of them had a long table in front of them. Dongbo Shui-ing was currently just a child and was seated by the side of Marquis Ardent Fire. Little Prince Snow Eagle, even though I'm the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace Hall Master of this Ardent Fire City, I have to make things clear beforehand. There are many cultivation techniques in this world, and there are some formidable inheritances from the 6 great ancient nations spreading within my Southern Cloud Nation. Even though it is hard to find one in Ardent Fire City, it is easy to find one in the capital. Chun Yu Wei smiled. Even if it is the same void path, the 6 great ancient kingdoms also have similar absolute arts. I advise you to think carefully before deciding on what to focus on. After all, cultivation consumes a lot of energy. Most people focus on one type of absolute art. Younger brother Wei Yingshan Snow Eagle has activated his void bloodline. Marquis Ardent Fire chuckled. Previously, he slightly activated his bloodline in front of me. I could vaguely sense that the aura of that bloodline is ancient and unfathomable. It is a Cosmos God bloodline. Snow Eagle is a disciple of my Yingshan clan. He has a Cosmos God level void bloodline in his body, and this bloodline comes from the king. Even some void-related absolute arts from the 6 great ancient nations aren't as suitable for Snow Eagle as the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Cosmos God level bloodline? Chun Yu Wei was startled at that moment. There were only a total of 4 Cosmos Gods in the Southern Cloud Nation, and all of them took different paths. The bloodline of the void could only be that of the monarch. Because the 4 great clans and the aristocratic marquis clans frequently intermarried with one another. Even though they would occasionally intermarry with the neighboring nations, the Southern Cloud King was the only Cosmos God with a void bloodline. Over the long years, as long as it was not a relatively ancient batch of old fellows, the Southern Cloud King would be able to have a Cosmos God bloodline. Most of the new generation of aristocratic marquis clan disciples had Cosmos God bloodline in their bodies. However, it was too thin, and the difficulty of activating it was ridiculously high. The Cosmos God bloodline in Dongbo Shui-ing's body was similarly thin, but his realm was high. Even without his bloodline, he was fully confident of reaching the pinnacle of primal chaos realm, much less activating his bloodline. With the king's void bloodline in his body, cultivating the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles would indeed yield twice the result with half the effort. Chun Yu-wei nodded. Saying that, he flipped his hand, bringing out a black book. The black book flew straight towards Dongbu Shuiying and landed in front of him. Dongbu Shuiying looked at the black book in front of him. The material of the book was pitch black, and it reminded Dongbu Shuiying of the feeling he had when he looked at the essence of the void, the black fog sphere. Complete scroll? Marquis Ardent Fire was slightly startled by the side. It should cost 100,000 cosmos crystals. No need. Chun Yu-wei chuckled and shook his head. Little Prince Snow Eagle's talent is amazing. He is a void god at birth, and he has even activated the void bloodline of the king. You are completely qualified to cultivate the entire Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles for free. I only have to make a simple report to the higher-ups after this. Dongbu Shuiying understood what was going on. He had read through many books and knew of some of the rules of the Southern Cloud sacred religion regarding the dissemination of absolute arts. The Southern Cloud sacred religion was so famous that it could become one of the top 10 great religions in the entire Realm Heart Great Land. Most who joined the Southern Cloud sacred religion would have to cultivate the first half of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Only after reaching the Unity Realm would they be qualified to cultivate the second half. Furthermore, cultivation required fees. Why did those sects work so hard to spread their absolute arts? It was to earn a huge sum of cosmos crystals. A complete Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles cost a total of 100,000 cosmos crystals. Being one of the top 10 great religions in Realm Heart Great Land, how many cultivators chose to learn it? Even those who majored in other absolute arts would have some understanding of it. The accumulation of a sea of cultivators produced a wealth that could drive even cosmos gods crazy. The Southern Cloud nation relied on this to earn a frightening amount of wealth. Wealth was resources. In terms of wealth, Southern Cloud King was ranked at the forefront across all cosmos gods across the entire Realm Heart Great Land. Many cosmos gods envied the other party. They were also working hard to create an absolute art. Wanting to cultivate an absolute art that was easy and powerful was too difficult. Furthermore, to have spread to such an extent, it needed to be managed well. For instance, cultivating an absolute art did not require a fee. If one's talent was heaven-defying, he could apply to impart the absolute art for free. Because absolute geniuses cultivating the absolute art of the Southern Cloud sacred religion would ultimately make the Southern Cloud sacred religion more famous. But the conditions for free were harsh. Dongbu Shuiying was a disciple from an aristocratic clan within the Southern Cloud nation. His talent was heaven-defying, and he had awakened the bloodline of the king. Hence, Chun Yu-wei was 100% confident. Wah! Dongbu Shuiying flipped through the black book in his hand. Just as he flipped it open, a large amount of light shot out from the black book. It directly entered between the eyebrows of Dongbu Shuiying. Hong! The mind of Dongbu Shuiying boomed. He could vaguely see a scene. Amidst a piece of primal chaos where one could not see the front, the back, the left, and the right. A thin and small figure stood there. Just by standing there, he gave Dongbu Shuiying a horrifying suppression. This suppression surpassed that of Jiezu, Wuzhu, and the others. It seemed that only the vast and boundless aura of Sacred Master was stronger by a level. This thin and small figure had a tall nose. His eyes were deep and serene. He then began displaying his techniques. His entire body was like a weapon. His legs, elbows, back, head, palms, fists, fingers, in any case, every part of his body was a terrifying weapon. His techniques were also becoming more and more profound. Towards the end, his power became more horrifying. Hua! The thin and small figure chopped down with his palm. The huge stars in the distance, as well as the many cultivators and flying ships, all turned into a painting in an instant. Those stars, cultivators, and flying ships became a part of the painting. Hong! Following that, the thin and small figure tapped out with his finger. Hong! With a tap of his finger, everything shattered. Furthermore, at the moment when everything shattered, Dongbu Shuiying could vaguely sense a great terror. That horrifying aura was something he had discovered in the past when he peered into the higher dimension through the black fog hole. Following that, everything dissipated. That thin and small figure turned into many pieces of information that fused into the soul of Dongbu Shuiying. It was none other than the detailed cultivation technique of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. But this cultivation technique was vaguely restricted. Dongbu Shuiying understood that even if he learned it completely, he could not break through the restriction and impart it to others. What a terrifying absolute art. A single palm caused the entire world to turn into a painting? A single finger broke through the void cage and allowed him to see the higher dimension? Dongbu Shuiying was startled. This was only imparted to others by Southern Cloud King. How strong had he become? No wonder he could single-handedly create a religion that could be ranked among the top 10 great religions in the realm Heart Great Land. It was unfathomable. Within the palace hall, Marquis Ardent Fire and Chun Yu Wei were chatting and drinking. They did not disturb Dongbu Shuiying, who was beside them. They knew that Dongbu Shuiying was currently immersed in the process of receiving the inheritance. Who? Dongbu Shuiying placed down the black book. He could not conceal the shock on his face. He had to properly cultivate this absolute art. Little Prince Snow Eagle, you've learned the absolute art too. Chun Yu Wei chuckled. Only after receiving the inheritance would you be able to see the king display the complete Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. In the future, it will be rare for you to have such an opportunity. You should experience it more. Dongbu Shuiying nodded. He added, Hall Master, I've heard that the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles that was imparted to others isn't the complete one? Right. Chun Yu Wei nodded. Previously you have seen the king display the complete art. What you are learning is the simplified version. After all, in order to spread it across the many nations in the realm Heart Great Land, it has to be cheap and simple. This simplified version is sufficient. You can reach the 7th level strength at the Unity Realm, and the 9th level at the Primal Chaos Realm. Dongbu Shuiying nodded. One could cultivate it to the 7th level at the Unity Realm, and the 9th level at the Primal Chaos Realm. Where he came from, that was the limit. And this was merely the simplified version of this absolute art. If you can reach the 5th level strength at the Unity Realm, I can help you apply to become an inner disciple. By then your Yingshan clan just has to spend some effort, and it won't be hard for you to become an inner disciple. By then, you will be able to obtain the complete version of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Chun Yu Wei chuckled. Actually, many cultivators are ambitious. They want to obtain the complete Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. But how many could unleash the 8th level strength at the Unity Realm? And how many could reach the God Yuan Palace 10th level strength at the Primal Chaos Realm and suppress new cosmos gods? If you could reach that stage, the king will definitely take the initiative to accept you as a personal disciple and obtain other secret impartations. Very soon, Dongbu Shuiying and Marquis Ardent Fire left the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace and returned to the Marquisdom. Returning to his residence, Dongbu Shuiying immediately began researching this Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Chapter 1020. Yingshan City was a great city ranked at the forefront across the entire Southern Cloud nation. The city was vast and boundless, and it was where the Yingshan ancestral family was located. Within the ancestral family, there was a towering snowy mountain peak. There were more than 10 houses here, and it was relatively quiet. This was where the old ancestor of the entire Yingshan clan, Old Mother Yingshan, lived. Ancestor. An elder from the Zhong clan respectfully greeted. Old Mother Yingshan was seated cross-legged on a huge rock overlooking the huge Yingshan clan king residence. She shook her head. That little fellow called Snow Eagle has a great talent, but it's a pity that he was forced to be born prematurely after just 15 years. Otherwise, if they were to be reborn after a few hundred years, the bloodline in their bodies would be much stronger. What a pity. Oh right, is it confirmed that Chan Yu Yenjin is the murderer? No. The white-haired elder respectfully said, we used an illusory realm array to trap her in an illusory realm. In the illusory realm, she will obediently confess everything. But in the illusion, she said that she didn't kill him and that someone framed her. The wrinkled old face of Old Mother Yingshan remained expressionless. There are two possibilities. One, she was indeed wronged. Secondly, she should have erased a portion of her own memories. The doyen from the ancestral clan spoke. Erased memories can't be recovered, and there's no way to verify it. For cultivation experts, it was indeed not difficult to erase memories. But if he erased it, he would truly forget about it. Even he himself believed that his altered memories were real. We have also tried our best to investigate the other clues, but all of them have been cut off. Other than some that could not be investigated, the ones that could be investigated were all destroyed by Chan Yu Yenjin. The ancestral clan doyen said. Right now we don't have any evidence. We can only deduce that Chan Yu Yen was the one who did it, and even erased her own memories. She's a descendant of a noble family. If you want to kill her, you need evidence. If not, King Ho would have to act personally. An elder from the ancestral clan spoke. The descendants of noble clans had special privileges. The Southern Cloud Nation had its laws too. Aristocratic clan disciples could not be casually killed. Naturally, those like Marquis Ardent Fire and Old Mother Ying Shan who were conferred marquises and conferred kings had greater authority. They could directly attack and kill him. Walai, this brat has encountered such a thing even though he is managing a marquisdom. Old Mother Ying Shan frowned. Back then this marriage. It was Marquis Ardent Fire who personally asked for this marriage with the Jianghu clan. One had to know that there were only 3 female conferred kings in the Southern Cloud Nation. Old Mother Ying Shan had an extremely good relationship with the old ancestor of the Jianghu clan, Empress Jianghu. They were like sisters. This marriage was something that Old Mother Ying Shan had once mentioned to Empress Jianghu. Jianghu Yanzhen did not teach her well. She will be stripped of all her status in the marquisdom and chased out of the residence. Old Mother Ying Shan casually said. On account of the fact that he had mentioned this marriage to Lady Jianghu before, she had shown some mercy. However, Jianghu Yanzhen would no longer be a descendant of an aristocratic clan. Although she was at Unity Realm 4th level, she would only be an ordinary commoner. It would be a small matter for an aristocratic clan descendant to kill her. Those lands, cavern dwellings, shops and other resources under Ying Shan Lai whose name would no longer be touched by her. This is something I prepared for the little snow eagle to nurture his bloodline. He should have great potential that can be excavated. Old Mother Ying Shan waved her hand and threw out a storage wristband. As for other resources and treasures, prepare them according to your identity as a Ying Shan Golden Order disciple. Alright, hurry up and send it over. Yes. This elder respectfully acknowledged. Old Mother Ying Shan's eyes were filled with expectation. Those who were born prematurely would be the ones with the strongest bloodline in the history of the Ying Shan clan. After all, in the Realm Heart Great Land, only a clan was truly united. It was common for a clan to escape and seek refuge in another nation when they could not stand it. Strictly speaking, the Black Devil 4 nations were part of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, of the 6 great ancient nations in the earliest period. It's just that over time, and after 2 War of the Ancient Nations, some clans broke away from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation and occupied a piece of land to build their own nation. Some clans even offended other superpowers and were forced to flee, seeking refuge in another nation. Hence, when a genius appeared in a clan, the clan would definitely do their best to groom him. Every child born in the clan would be carefully nurtured. It's just that as the clan was too big, there would inevitably be some black sheep. Let's see when this little fellow Snow Eagle will break through to the Unity Realm. Old Mother Ying Shan thought, by seeing how long he takes to reach the Unity Realm, we can determine the potential of his bloodline. Scram. In the future, if you dare take half a step into the marquisdom, I'll kill you. Jianghu Yanzhen stood outside the marquisdom in a daze. Her eyes were filled with despair. Ever since she joined the Ying Shan clan, she was no longer a member of the Jianghu clan. Instead, she was a part of the Ying Shan clan. Now that she was stripped of her identity and chased out of the marquisdom, she was a commoner. Everything was gone. Gone. I really didn't. Jianghu Yanzhen muttered, I am innocent. She erased and altered her memory so as to escape death. Until now, even she felt that she did not do anything and was innocent. Mother. Outside the marquisdom, 2 males brought along some servants and protectors standing there. Jianghu Yanzhen looked over, my son, I am innocent. Mother, little brother, and I know you are innocent. It's just that currently that Ying Shan Snow Eagle is doted on by the entire Ying Shan clan. Grandpa Marquis is also standing on his side. So what if his bloodline is strong? He might not be strong. In the future, when I become a conferred Marquis, I'll directly kill him so that Mother can vent her anger. The eldest son gritted his teeth. The second son was more low profile. After all, the eldest son had long reached the Unity Realm and was at the 4th level strength. He was qualified to say these words. The second son was currently at the Void God Origin Birth Realm and did not have the confidence to do so. Mother, I've arranged a residence for you. Go endure it for now. Let's see what that little bastard can do in the future. I'm afraid he will have to cultivate for a long time before he reaches the Unity Realm. That eldest son snorted angrily. Zhongfu I am truly innocent. Let's go, the entire Ying Shan clan is siding with that Ying Shan Snow Eagle. Even though Jianghu Yanzhen felt great resentment in her heart, she was clear that she had been stripped of her identity as an aristocratic noble disciple. Hence, she was much more cautious when she spoke. Time passed. Dongbo Shuiying did not place the Jianghu Yanzhen in his eyes. After all, in his eyes, becoming a conferred king was an easy task for him. His goal was to become a cosmos god. Cultivation was the most important. In the blink of an eye, 1,500 years passed. To cultivators, this period was as short as 10 days to half a month for mortals. Ardent Fire Marquis-Dom. Dongbu Shuiying was currently seated within a courtyard filled with birdsong and fragrant flowers. He held onto a book in his hand. His body felt warm. The spiritual liquid given by this old ancestor of the Ying Shan clan is indeed good for nurturing the bloodline. This void bloodline of mine has become several dozen times denser, allowing me to cultivate more easily. It was mainly because it was too thin previously. Under normal circumstances, there was no value in nurturing such a thin bloodline. But there were many similarities between the void of the realm heart great land and the void of the primal chaos void. Cultivation was originally simple and easy. With a void god soul, Dongbu Shuiying's cultivation speed was much faster than when he was in the womb. Furthermore, with the void bloodline as a reference and the corresponding absolute art Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles, Dongbu Shuiying had actually succeeded in cultivating the third style of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles in just 1,500 years, allowing him to reach the 5th level star pagoda strength in the past. In other words, he was at the God Yuan Palace 5th level strength. With this strength, he could naturally awaken and step into the Unity realm. No rush, no rush. Even though I want to portray the image of an absolute genius and was previously forced into the world, it is still too fast for me to reach the Unity realm in just 1,000 years. I mean, it would be best if it is closer to 10,000 years. Dongbu Shuiying pondered, let's do it for 8,000 years. He had read through too many miscellaneous books, and according to the examples of other bloodline-related absolute geniuses, he made a breakthrough plan for himself. He did not wish for himself to be too dazzling and be suspected of reincarnating, resulting in an ultra-strong expert coming over to inspect his memories. My son, my son. A loud shout could be heard from outside. One could see a male filled with smiles rushing over from afar. He was extremely passionate and cheerful. Dongbu Shuiying could not help but clutch his head. Oh, my father. This father of his, Ying Shan Lai, who was truly an exquisite character. Star. Chapter 1021. My son is reading. Father has brought you some of your favorite food. Ying Shan Lai, who flipped his hand. A wooden plate appeared with a single hand. On the wooden plate were some wooden cages and jade plates. All of them were filled with delicacies that emitted a strong fragrance. In the past, when Dongbu Shuiying chased after the destruction devils, he had also tasted all sorts of delicacies. Now that he reincarnated into the realm heart great land, other than reading through many books, he would frequently visit the famous restaurants and taverns in the Ardent Fire City to eat delicacies. Currently, many aristocratic clan disciples in the Ardent Fire City knew that Prince Snow Eagle loved to eat. Elder Tian, I'm going to enter closed-door cultivation. Nobody is to disturb me. Dongbu Shuiying turned around and left. My son, my son. Ying Shan Lai, who hurriedly came over. Elder Tian blocked in front of Ying Shan Lai, who, Prince Snow Eagle is going to enter closed-door cultivation. Don't disturb him. Ying Shan Lai, who could only helplessly twitch his lips when he saw that. He casually took a snack from one of the wooden cages and threw it into his mouth. He doesn't want to eat such delicious food. Truly, I'll let Xinglan eat it. Turning around, Ying Shan Lai, who went to find Rong Xinglan. Elder Tian muttered to himself when he saw this. This Ying Shan Lai, whose skin is really thick. The two black stream cloud wolves that were lying there glanced at the leaving Ying Shan Lai, who before closing their eyelids and went back to sleep. I can't beat or drive them away. Their skin is so thick too. What a headache. Dongbu Shuiying hid in a pagoda. Within the pagoda, there were waves of spatial turbulence. At the center there was a huge stone floating 3 meters in diameter. The moment Dongbu Shuiying entered, he appeared on top of that stone and sat down cross-legged. The surrounding spatial turbulence revolved around, and some of it permeated into the body of Dongbu Shuiying. This was a void god pagoda specially bought by the Ardent Fire Marquis-Dom for the sake of cultivating the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. It was meant for Dongbu Shuiying to cultivate. The father of this life? Dongbu Shuiying shook his head. He disliked Ying Shan Lai, who from the bottom of his heart. After all, before he revealed his shocking talent, Ying Shan Lai, who did not care about the life and death of his children. He only knew how to enjoy himself. He did not have any feelings for Rong Xinglan in the past. Just this alone was enough to cause Dongbu Shuiying to dislike him. However, Ever since his birth he had been too dazzling. Ying Shanlai, who would come here every few days. He welcomed the other party with a smile and was very passionate. He could ignore him, but Ying Shanlai, who would turn around to coax Rong Xinglan. He would often bring some food and drinks and some accessories to coax Rong Xinglan. Rong Xinglan discovered that her husband was treating her so well. Even though she knew that he was trying to curry favor with her, she gradually forgave him. Now that the relationship between Rong Xinglan and Ying Shanlai who became better, Dongbua Shuiying could only try his best to hide. Whatever, as long as mother is happy and as long as he doesn't stir up trouble, I'll just treat him as a happy fruit for mother. Since I'm in seclusion, I should cultivate seriously. Dongbua Shuiying glanced at the book in his hand before keeping it. This book also introduced the Southern Cloud King. During these years, Dongbua Shuiying had collected many books on the Southern Cloud King. He had also collected some intelligence, discovering that the Southern Cloud King had long reached the pinnacle of voidification. He even had avatars. This made Dongbua Shuiying feel that he had a bright future in the Southern Cloud sacred religion. It was worth it for him to focus on his cultivation. Keeping the book, Dongbua Shuiying sat cross-legged on a floating rock. He began cultivating. Dongbua Shuiying was different from others. He did not encounter any bottlenecks in cultivating the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. After all, the highest level of this simplified version was merely the God Yuan Palace 9th level strength. In addition to how powerful the Southern Cloud King was, the technique he created was easier to learn. Its difficulty was equivalent to creating an 8th level star pagoda technique in his previous life. In addition, there were many similarities between the void of the two origin worlds. Hence, he did not encounter any bottlenecks. As for his other main cultivation path, the Tao of Mirage, because the laws and profound mysteries were completely different, it was much slower for him to cultivate it. This was also the reason why Dongbua Shuiying chose to rely on the Tao of Void to break through to the primal chaos realm. Only when his soul was stronger would he be able to cultivate the Tao of Mirage faster. Hong Long Long, his body was ringing. There were a total of 8 prismatic crystal pillars embedded within the Void God Pagoda. The chaotic spatial flow that was produced continuously permeated into the body of Dongbua Shuiying, influencing his body. Some of the treasures and medicines he consumed were also nourishing his muscles, bones and blood vessels, causing the blood vessels in his body to become denser. Actually, this God Pagoda was primarily used to cultivate the Southern Cloud sacred body. The Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles came with an important body cultivation technique, the Southern Cloud sacred body. The further one cultivated the Southern Cloud sacred body, the more precious treasures were required. Absorbing the essence of these treasures into one's body was akin to using the body as a secret treasure weapon. Once it was cultivated to the pinnacle, any part of the body could be used as a weapon in battle. His body could be said to be indestructible. Furthermore, it had the effect of voidification, allowing him to penetrate through the void and escape. Hence, this Southern Cloud sacred body was a relatively perfect survival technique. This was also one of the reasons why the Southern Cloud sacred religion could become one of the top 10 great religions in Realm Heart Great Land despite coming from a Tier 2 nation. Time passed. Amen? Dongbua Shuiying suddenly sensed something. He abruptly stopped cultivating. 8,000 years have passed? Dongbua Shuiying softly nodded. His plan was to break through to the Unity Realm when he was 8,000 years old. Even though time passed silently during cultivation, he would naturally stop at this point in time. I've mastered the 4th and 5th style of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Dongbua Shuiying sat cross-legged there. Hong. His entire body suddenly burst forth with formless void blades, flying out in all directions. Wherever they passed, ripples would appear in the void, and his might was so great that he even faintly had the demeanor of Chun Yu Wei. So. Dongbua Shuiying's body suddenly flashed. He teleported around the inner space of this void god pagoda before returning to his original position on top of the huge rock. I've grasped teleportation too. Dongbua Shuiying softly nodded. The 4th and 5th style of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles were techniques at the God Yuan Palace 6th level. The 6th and 7th style were techniques at the 7th level. And the 8th style was at the Primal Chaos Realm 7th level. Because some Primal Chaos giants might not reach the 7th level just by using the profound mysteries at the Unity Realm. Hence, the 8th style utilized some profound mysteries at the Primal Chaos Realm, allowing most Primal Chaos giants to reach the 7th level. Only those at the 7th level were qualified to be conferred as conferred marquis. The 9th and 10th style were at the God Yuan Palace 8th level. The 11th and 12th style were at the God Yuan Palace 9th level. I'm going out for a walk to relieve my boredom. When I return I'll break through to the Unity Realm. Dongbo Shuang stood up. God Yuan Palace 6th level. One had to know that within the marquisdom, disciples at the God Yuan Palace 5th level could become elders. As long as the honored guests at the God Yuan Palace 6th level were loyal to the marquisdom, they could also become elders. An expert with such strength could casually join the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace and he would have a high position with special privileges. In another origin world Primal Chaos Void, new Primal Chaos Giants merely had the combat strength of the 6th level, leaving the Void God Pagoda. So. The two black stream cloud wolves that were guarding outside the pagoda immediately rushed over. In reality, there were guards guarding the surrounding courtyards of the Void God Pagoda. When Dongbo Shuiying was in closed-door cultivation, other than Master Marquis, nobody dared to barge in. I'm going out for a walk. Dongbo Shuiying had grown taller, giving him the demeanor of a handsome young man. Very soon, a carriage pulled by two dragon beasts appeared. The handsome young man sat on the carriage with two black stream cloud wolves lying in front of him. Beside him stood Elder Tian and his 9 personal guards at the back of the carriage. Who? The carriage rapidly arced through the sky and flew out of the marquisdom. Prince, where should we go first? Elder Tian asked. Let's go to the Lujian restaurant first. It has been a long time since I ate. My stomach is already growling. Dongbo Shuiying said. The two black stream cloud wolves lying by his feet let out joyful roars. Clearly the two of them liked the delicacies of the Lujian restaurant. Chapter 1022. The Lujian restaurant stretched for 2 to 3 miles along the street. Row upon row of pavilions were built, and the number of customers was like a tide. It was very lively. Young Master Snow Eagle, you haven't been here for a long time. Please come in, please come in. How about I arrange the Lord supporting building for you? A restaurant manager immediately took the initiative to welcome him. After all, in terms of status, this little Prince Yingshan Snow Eagle was ranked at the forefront in the entire Ardent Fire City. If he were to offend this Snow Eagle little prince, the entire restaurant would likely have to close down. Below one of the pavilions in the entire restaurant, the Auxiliary Lord Pavilion, the carriage and the dragon beast were also arranged there. Large pots of fruits and beast meat were also prepared for the dragon beast. The two dragons were also gobbling down the food. On the upper floor of Fujun Building, Dongbo Shuiying and Elder Tian shared a table, while the 9 personal guards split into 2 tables at the corner. The 2 black stream cloud wolves were also served with exquisite plates of delicacies. Although this Lujian restaurant is barely ranked in the top 10, I like it the most. Dongbo Shuiying ate to his heart's content. As a powerful cultivator, eating was purely for the enjoyment of delicious food. After all, not eating or drinking for hundreds of millions of years was a small matter. The maids were like clouds, serving delicacies one after another. These maids were usually world deities or true gods. Due to their abilities, it was not easy for them to find a good job in the Ardent Fire City. Hence, they could only run errands and become servants. Only after becoming a void god could he start doing some difficult tasks. After eating and drinking for more than an hour, his entire body was covered in perspiration. Dongbo Shuiying gradually stopped drinking and started to enjoy his wine. At the same time he was also looking at the scenery outside the window. Dongbo Shuiying suddenly raised his head and looked into the distance. About 10 miles away, Dongbo Shuiying furrowed his brows. Young master. Elder Tian asked. I'm almost done. It's time to go. Dongbo Shuiying stood up. Elder Tian, the 2 black stream cloud wolves, and the bodyguards were almost done with their meals. They all stood up. More than 10 li away from the street, a luxurious carriage streaked across the sky. The carriage was pulled by 8 purple gold dragon beasts, and there were dozens of beautiful maids surrounding the carriage. Wherever he passed, even the cultivators on the streets would move to the side, not daring to look up. Because those who lived slightly longer in Ardent Fire City knew that this carriage belonged to the Misty Cloud Pavilion Master, Chen Yufeng. Being the owner of the biggest money-squandering establishment in Ardent Fire City, the Misty Cloud Pavilion, Chen Yufeng's status was naturally extremely high. He was definitely an influential figure in Ardent Fire City. Even those aristocratic clan descendants wouldn't dare to offend him, let alone the commoners. Inside the luxurious carriage, The outside of the carriage was only about 10 feet wide, but the inside was more than 100 feet wide. Two chubby men sat opposite each other, both of them being served by beauties. A plump man was naturally Chun Yufeng. His face was filled with smiles, making people feel as though they were bathing in the spring breeze. As for the other plump man, he was relatively tall and big. He was emitting a faint, terrifying and austere aura. As he breathed, there was a faint black aura coming out from his nose, causing the beauties beside him to tremble in fear. "Brother Qian, I'll have to trouble you this time to give me more goods." Chun Yufeng complained, "I don't have enough goods. My days are tough too. There aren't many goods. This distribution is something that offends others." That plump man nonchalantly said, "I know Brother Qian isn't having an easy life too. Naturally, I won't mistreat Brother Qian." Chun Yufeng passionately said, "There's no rush." That plump man remained indifferent. "Yes, yes, yes. Come, have a taste of this heavenly dawn spirit wine. This is a fine wine brewed by our king after he left the realm heart great land and discovered the heavenly dawn god tree in the surrounding primal chaos stars. It is rare for me to get my hands on some." Chun Yufeng waved his hand and a translucent wine flask appeared in front of him. Through the wine flask, one could see the wine liquid that was suffused with green light rippling inside. This wine flask directly flew to the table in front of that obese and huge man. "Oh, heavenly dawn spirit wine?" Only then did the plump man reveal a grin. Good wine, good wine." That plump man seemed relatively satisfied. As he drank, he looked outside. This carriage was sealed. But those outside could not see into the carriage. Nevertheless, those inside could easily see the scenery outside. Enjoying the service of beauties and drinking the wine, this plump man revealed a grin. Suddenly his expression changed slightly. That is, the plump man saw a pair of commoners on the distant street. That woman was merely a true god, yet there were faint red god imprints revolving in the eyes of the plump man. He could not help but feel delighted in his heart. The spiritual light emitted by this soul is so dense. It is truly a good guiding medicine. Tiske, I was lucky enough to discover it. "Stop," the plump man said. "Quickly stop," Chun Yufeng shouted. The carriage rapidly stopped. Only then did Chun Yufeng smile. "Brother Qian, what's the matter?" "That woman." The plump man pointed to the distant street. "She is wearing a violet robe and has a jade hairpin on her head." Saying that, he could not help but condense the illusory figure of a woman by the side. "I want this woman," the plump man said. Chun Yufeng looked from afar. He was extremely well informed in ardent Fire City. There were not many aristocratic clan disciples, but there were only so many of them. He recognized all of them. With a single glance, he could ascertain that the origin of that woman was very ordinary. Even if she came from an aristocratic clan, she was merely a true god and had a low status. "Brother Qian, rest assured. I will immediately capture her." Chun Yufeng chuckled. The plump man nodded. He was an outsider and it was not suitable for him to do such a thing. However, it was very simple for Chun Yufeng to do such a thing. Yen Wen and his daughter had long seen that luxurious carriage in the distant sky. They recognized that it belonged to the Misty Cloud Pavilion master and naturally moved to the side of the road. However, the carriage swooped down and stopped not too far away from them. On the carriage, the curtain of the carriage opened, revealing two plump men who were being served by many beauties. Among them, the Misty Cloud Pavilion's master, Chun Yufeng, was looking downwards. His pair of small eyes were looking downwards, but they were very cold. His gaze landed on Yen Wen and his daughter. "Bring that woman over." "Yes." The female attendants outside the carriage had extraordinary strength. Instantly, two Unity Realm female attendants flew down. "Spare my life, Misty Cloud Pavilion Master, spare my daughter." That middle-aged man Yen Wen hurriedly knelt down and begged, "I am a pill master of the Yen clan's medicinal hall. Please give me some face." The girl Yen Yu also knelt down in fear. "Mph." Chun Yufeng snorted coldly. He coldly glanced at Yen Wen and his daughter and was too lazy to speak. Yen Wen was extremely terrified and his heart was in a mess. He was very clear. Even though the master of their medicinal hall had some status, he did not dare to utter a word in front of the Misty Cloud Pavilion master. Let alone a pill master like him. "Father." Yen Yu was also anxious and terrified. What would be the outcome if she fell into the hands of the Misty Cloud Pavilion master? If she was lucky, she would only be toyed with by the customers of the Misty Cloud Pavilion. If she was unlucky, she would probably lose her life. Shwa. A figure appeared. It was a gray-robed old man. This gray-robed old man appeared in front of the kneeling Yen Wen and his daughter. Waving his hand, Hong, a void ripple blasted on the bodies of those two Unity Realm female attendants who were rushing down. Those two female attendants were immediately forced back. Tianiji? Misty Cloud Pavilion Master Chun Yufeng looked down with a cold gaze. When he saw that gray-robed old man, he could not help but frown. He recognized that was the honored guest of Marquis Ardent Fire, Tianiji. At this moment, a carriage arced through the sky and flew over. There was a handsome young man seated on the carriage with two black stream cloud wolves lying in front of him. Behind him were 9 cold and stern personal guards. Pavilion Master Chun Yu, why? You're even thinking of snatching my female attendants? The handsome young man sat there. He extended his hand and caressed the smooth back fur of the huge black stream cloud wolves. He indifferently said. His voice reverberated in midair. Many cultivators on the surrounding streets did not dare to utter a word. Prince Snow Eagle? A smile appeared on the face of Pavilion Master Chun Yu. He merely frowned slightly as he looked at the plump male beside him. The gaze of that plump male was cold. He looked at Dongbua Shuiying, who was seated on the carriage. Dongbua Shuiying was similarly looking at that plump male. Chapter 1023. Yen Wen and his daughter knelt there. They held their breaths. They were both excited and frightened. They could not help but look at the two carriages pulled by the dragon beasts in midair. One carriage was luxurious with Pavilion Master Chun Yufeng and the mysterious plump male on it. The other carriage had that Ying Shan Snow Eagle little prince who was currently caressing the fur of the black stream cloud wolf. Father. Yen Yu transmitted to her father. Rest assured, rest assured. The status of Prince Snow Eagle is extraordinary. Since he has spoken, that Pavilion Master Chun Yu will definitely give him some face. Yen Wen transmitted a message to comfort his daughter, though he was feeling uneasy in his heart. Many cultivators on the street had already retreated to the two sides. Even though they did not dare to make any noise, they were still watching the situation unfold. The two parties clashing above? They were absolutely big characters in the entire Ardent Fire City. One party controlled the biggest money-squandering den, and had many subordinates under him. His influence was huge. The other party was the Ying Shan clan's little prince Snow Eagle, who was doted on by many. Old Mother Ying Shan regarded him highly. Prince Snow Eagle, is it possible for you to part with this female attendant of yours? Chun Yufeng smiled. He was very passionate. I'll naturally not let Prince Snow Eagle suffer a loss. You know she is mine, yet you still want to snatch her away? Dongbua Shuiying sat there and casually said. Chun Yufeng's expression froze. She was just a little girl, yet she did not give him any face at all. If this Prince Snow Eagle little prince was deliberately finding trouble with him to obtain some benefits, Chun Yufeng would still be willing to give some benefits to the other party. Who would have thought that this Snow Eagle little prince was really foolish enough to stand up for a weak little girl? Chun Yufeng glanced at the plump male by the side. I hope for you to help me capture this girl. I'll definitely remember this favor of Brother Chun Yu. The matter of the goods can be discussed too. The plump male transmitted. Chun Yufeng felt bitter in his heart. Clearly Brother Qian was not willing to give up. Brother Qian, this Prince Snow Eagle little prince is too young and tender. This kind of greenhorn is the hardest to deal with. Chun Yufeng transmitted. With Brother Chun Yu's status in the Ardent Fire City, can't you do this? The plump hunk transmitted. AI, this is ultimately the Ardent Fire City, and the status of Marquis Ardent Fire cannot be shaken. Furthermore, this little Prince Snow Eagle has said that she is his female attendant. It was my fault for trying to snatch it forcefully. If things get out of hand, I won't be able to gain any advantage. Chun Yufeng said. Robbing civilians, killing 1 or 2 civilians, given how vast the Ardent Fire City was, with billions and billions of cultivators within, it was indeed a small matter. Even according to the law, if a noble descendant committed such a crime, he would only be fined some universe crystals. But in reality, as long as they didn't make a big deal out of it, and the number of robberies and killings weren't many, there wouldn't be any punishment. After all, the punishment for robbing a commoner wasn't much. If there were thousands or tens of thousands of robbers, and the punishment was severe, even the nobles wouldn't be able to handle it. Still not coming up? Let your father go back first. Dongbua Shuiying couldn't be bothered to waste any more time with them. He ordered. Elder Tian immediately extended his hand and pulled that girl. At the same time he transmitted to this father-daughter pair, follow the prince first. As for you as a father, if you want to see your daughter, you can visit the marquisdom. Hurry up and go. Yen Wen hurriedly urged. Amen, the daughter Yen Yu acknowledged. South, Elder Tian pulled this girl and flew over to the side of Dongbu Shui Ying's carriage. She obediently stood by the side of Dongbu Shui Ying like a female attendant. Go. Dongbu Shui Ying was too lazy to even look at Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng. The two dragon beasts let out a roar. They immediately pulled the carriage and arced through the sky. Only the carriage of Misty Cloud Pavilion Master remained there. Wah! Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng closed the curtains. He looked at the sullen plump male and advised, "This little prince is too young, and his way of doing things is rude and unreasonable. But we are in the wrong in this matter and we can't win against him. It's useless even if I tried to stop him. If I dared to act, the army of the Ardent Fire Marquisdom would kill their way over." Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng let out a sigh of relief. After all, Dongbu Shuiying had left so decisively that Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng did not need to say anything else. The plump male had a sullen expression. A black aura flowed on the surface of his body as he coldly said, "Let's go to the Misty Cloud Pavilion first." Good. Chen Yufeng answered. Wah! Very soon this luxurious carriage began flying towards the Misty Cloud Pavilion. The father of that girl, Yen Wen, who was left behind, let out a sigh of relief when he saw this. Even though he guessed that the other party would not be angry at him for failing to snatch his daughter away. After all, from the looks of it, Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng did not wish to shed all pretense of cordiality with the little Prince Snow Eagle. Fortunately, Prince Snow Eagle appeared. Otherwise we would be in deep trouble. He sighed inwardly. Even though there were many cultivators in the Ardent Fire City, and with the fines as punishment, aristocratic marquises would rarely kill or plunder, he still felt despair when it happened to him. But living within the city was better than living outside the city. Outside the city was a true chaotic world of slaughter. True gods and ordinary void gods like them would not be able to survive for long outside before being killed. Little Prince Snow Eagle is really formidable. He actually did not give any face to the Misty Cloud Pavilion Master. Why would little Prince Snow Eagle care about that Misty Cloud Pavilion Master? With the talent of little Prince Snow Eagle, he will definitely have a bright future. He might even become a conferred marquis in the future. Right, he will become a conferred marquis. He will naturally be different from other aristocratic marquises. The surrounding cultivators continued walking. They were discussing in groups of 2s and 3s. To them, this was practically a clash between the top existences in the Ardent Fire City. As for the higher existences, it was likely only Marquis Ardent Fire and Chen Yu Wei. On the carriage, Dongbu Shuiying sat there. The female attendant Yen Yu said gratefully, "Many thanks, Prince Snow Eagle, for saving my life. I've spoken, yet that Misty Cloud Pavilion Master still wants to snatch you away. It seems that it is the intention of his companion. He has a strong desire to snatch you away." Dongbu Shuiying nonchalantly said, "In the future you will temporarily be my female attendant. Without the protection of this identity, you will likely be snatched away very soon." "Yes," Yen Yu answered. She had also discovered that the plump male beside Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng was looking at her with a cold and greedy gaze. "Elder Tian, investigate who was on the carriage with Pavilion Master Chen Yufeng today," Dongbu Shuiying said. "He shouldn't be someone from the Ardent Fire City. I'll get the marquisdom to investigate after returning," Tian Yiji added. Dongbu Shuiying nodded. He could see with a glance that the aura of that plump male was relatively evil. Furthermore, he did not seem to care about Chen Yufeng. But he was ultimately at the Unity Realm. Dongbu Shuiying did not place him in his eyes. Currently, he had already cultivated the 4th and 5th style of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Those 2 styles were at the 6th level strength. As for the 7th level strength? If he had the 7th level strength, he could directly become a conferred marquis. Hence, even though Dongbu Shuiying had cultivated for 8,000 years, he had reached an extremely high level in the Ardent Fire City. Very soon, the carriage arrived at the region of the Treasured Goods Market. There were many shops in the entire Treasured Goods Market. These shops were selling pills, materials, weapons, and all sorts of rare and precious treasures of varying grades. Like in the Primal Chaos Void and 5 great sacred worlds where he came from, such transactions were usually monopolized by the Holy Grounds. But it was different in the Realm Heart Great Land. All sorts of transactions were more flourishing here. The entire Treasured Goods Market, was even operated by a huge array, preventing anyone from snatching away any weapons or treasures from any shop in the treasured goods market. Prince Snow Eagle, it has been a long time since you came. Prince Snow Eagle, please come in. Following the arrival of Dongbua Shuiying, the managers of various shops were extremely enthusiastic. Because in the thousands of years after he was born, other than enjoying eating all sorts of delicacies, his other favorite hobby was to stroll around the treasured goods market. He would stroll around the shops and observe the refinement of various weapons. He even saw some items that came out from ancient ruins. These allowed Dongbua Shuiying to discover different kinds of profound mysteries from them. Dongbua Shuiying came to a relatively huge shop. Just as he entered, he saw a spear emitting an ancient and brutal aura floating at the center of the shop. When Dongbua Shuiying saw that spear and sensed that aura, his eyes could not help but brighten. Prince Snow Eagle, you have a good eyesight. The manager by the side said enthusiastically when he saw that star. Chapter 1024. Let me take a look. Dongbua Shuiying directly said, interrupting the long speech that the manager was about to give. Please, please. The manager said. Only then did Dongbua Shuiying extend his hand to grab this spear. The surface of the spear was covered with many veined patterns, and it felt comfortable holding onto the spear body. Pulling the spear body became like a dragon. It even let out a faint cry. The manager muttered inwardly when he saw that, this little Prince Snow Eagle seems to know spear techniques? Dongbua Shuiying held onto the end of the spear body with his left hand. His right hand slowly caressed the spear body. A sense of familiarity filled his heart. Before reincarnating, he primarily cultivated the Tao of Mirage, and the Mirage and illusory realm was not suitable for close combat. Hence he chose to use the spear in close combat in the past. Eventually he gave up on it. But in the Realm Heart Great Land, Dongbua Shuiying decided to cultivate two Tao paths. One was still the Tao of Mirage and illusory realm since he was talented in this aspect. And the other was the Tao of Void. After all, he originally had deep accumulations. He had obtained the inheritance of Void Primogenitor and Monarch 9 Cloud. He also had the opportunity to observe and comprehend the scaled armor of General Mo Gu. Furthermore, he had spent 1 trillion years in the Lost World Corridor. With all these foundations, and during the teleportation of the Realm Heart Order, Shuiying felt another way of using the Void. In addition, he had joined the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion in the Realm Heart Great Land. Hence, he naturally cultivated two Tao paths. And the Southern Cloud 12 Sacred Styles was a close combat absolute art. Most cultivators could use their bodies as weapons. But they could use other weapons too. In this life I shall use the spear again. Dongbua Shuiying thought. Wang. Following that, his consciousness permeated into the spear in his hand. Previously, it was the aura of this spear that attracted him. This time he wanted to investigate it more thoroughly. As his consciousness permeated the spear, Dongbua Shuiying could vaguely see an enormous black maelstrom staircase. As the staircase went deeper, space became more mysterious and unfathomable. The void in the Realm Heart Great Land was similar to the void in the origin world where he came from. Therefore, Dongbua Shuiying was able to completely understand this profound mystery. As Dongbua Shuiying continued his exploration, he could sense that the spiral staircase was getting deeper and faster, and the patterns on the spear shaft were lighting up. Suddenly, everything shattered. Dongbua Snow Eagle frowned as he looked at the spearhead. The shaft of the spear was a very simple gray, but the spearhead was a deep purple spearhead that was suffused with a bloody and ruthless aura. The spearhead isn't part of the spear? Dongbua Shuiying asked. Young Master Snow Eagle has a good eye. The manager by the side added, we've invited an expert to appraise it. This secret treasure weapon should be refined by a cosmos god. This spearhead is added later on, but it is sufficiently tyrannical. Dongbua Shuiying shook his head. Fierce and domineering? This spear shaft and the original spearhead should be able to use this to unleash an extremely terrifying void killer move. Furthermore, it was absolutely a move at the cosmos god level. Furthermore, this usage of the void was something Dongbua Shuiying had never seen before. If it were a complete spear, Dongbua Shuiying felt that it would be worth it even if he exchanged the entire Ardent Fire Marquis for it. It's a pity that only the spear shaft was left, and its value was greatly reduced. Even though the spearhead was added later on, it was ordinary. Young Master Snow Eagle. The manager said, this secret treasure weapon lacks a spearhead, yet the spearhead that was added has been used for 1 trillion years. Its power is extraordinary. More importantly, it is cheap. It only costs 12 million cosmos crystals. He stared at Dongbo Shuiying. 12 million cosmos crystals. The number of people in the entire Ardent Fire City who could afford it could be counted with two hands. This little Prince Snow Eagle, who was rumored to be highly regarded by old Mother Yingshan, should be able to afford it. 12 million cosmos crystals? Elder Tianyi shouted from the side. Do you know how much 12 million cosmos crystals is? It is enough to buy a complete secret treasure weapon. There were many cosmos gods in the realm Heart Great Land. Hence, secret treasures and weapons were more commonly seen than in the primal chaos void and 5 great sacred worlds. Dongbo Shuiying watched from the side. Price. Based on his previous attainments in the void aspect, this spear had an extraordinary origin. Just the spear shaft was worth at least 100 million cosmos crystals. Most likely, this shop should not have invited a primal chaos giant in the Tao of Void to look at it. Otherwise, it was impossible for the other party to offer such a price. But Dongbo Shuiying would not easily agree to the price the other party offered because he only had 15 million cosmos crystals on him. In terms of wealth, he would most likely be ranked in the top 3 in the Ardent Fire Marquisdom, of which 8 million cosmos crystals were bestowed by Old Mother Yingshan. 2 million cosmos crystals were bestowed by Marquis Ardent Fire. Marquis Ardent Fire then gave him cavern dwellings, shops, land and other resources. Those cavern dwellings, shops and other resources could also be rented. Most aristocratic clan disciples could live a luxurious life precisely because they had some cavern dwellings and shops, allowing them to earn cosmos crystals continuously. Even though it was little, one had to know that a single cosmos crystal was worth 10,000 upper-grade primal chaos stones. Dongbo Shuiying was naturally confident of himself. He did not think that he had to rely on his cavern dwelling and shops to survive. Hence, he had long sold those to the Marquisdom for 5 million cosmos crystals. Currently, he only had a total of 15 million cosmos crystals. He was wealthier than many elders in the Marquisdom. Elder Tian, let's not talk about it anymore. 10 million cosmos crystals. This is the limit set by our master. That manager helplessly said, Prince Snow Eagle, honestly speaking, this spear was discovered by a group of cultivators who went out to explore the historical remains 15 years ago. They were fortunate to obtain this spear and they even fought with each other. Eventually, only 2 of them managed to send this spear to me. Furthermore, they were assassinated in my shop by their companions who went out to explore the historical remains. That time the commotion was huge. Prince Snow Eagle just had to order someone to investigate and you would know of this case. My master also had plans. If he couldn't sell it in a short period of time, he would return to his clan's Heavenly Yin City, after a few million years. At that time he would bring this spear to Heavenly Yin City to sell. There would be more experts there and more people who could afford it. Dongbo Shuiying nodded slightly when he heard that. He believed that this story wasn't fake. After all, it was a case from 15 years ago and he could easily investigate it. Alright, 10 million cosmos crystals. I'll buy it. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. Good. The manager was overjoyed. His master was only a disciple of the Heavenly Yin clan, one of the 4 great clans. If he were to sell it here, his master would be able to benefit greatly. If he were to sell it in Heavenly Yin City, he would definitely be exploited by the clan. It's a profit. Master set the minimum price at 10 million. I thought that I wouldn't be able to sell it. When I bought it previously, I only spent 3 million cosmos crystals. The manager was very happy. He was already very satisfied that those who risked their lives to explore the historical remains were able to earn 3 million cosmos crystals. However, he didn't know. The true value of this seemingly broken secret treasure weapon with a spearhead was definitely over 100 million universe crystals. It's just that Marquis Ardent Fire, who did not specialize in the void, could only determine that it was a damaged secret treasure refined by a cosmos god. He could not understand how precious it was. Very soon, that disciple from the Heavenly Yin clan, Heavenly Yin Flowing Jade, personally rushed over and completed this transaction. Prince Snow Eagle, I'll be returning to Heavenly Yin City in a few days. If you were to visit Heavenly Yin City, you must inform me. I'll definitely receive you well. Heavenly Yin Flowing Jade was very happy. This shop was also one of the assets under his name. Previously he spent 3 million cosmos crystals to buy this spear, and he had practically spent all his treasures. He even used some of the goods in the shop as collateral. Now that he had earned 7 million cosmos crystals, Heavenly Yin Flowing Jade felt that there was no longer a need for him to stay in Ardent Fire City. It was fine for him to arrange for his subordinates to stay here, and he could return to Heavenly Ying City. Heavenly Ying City had a cosmos god protecting it. It was much more flourishing than this place. Dongbo Shuang was in a good mood. He brought this spear back to the marquisdom before entering closed-door cultivation in the Void God Pagoda. Within the Void God Pagoda, sitting on a floating rock, caressing this ancient and savage spear in his hand, Dongbo Shuang was filled with joy. He recalled the time when he practiced the spear. This is a secret treasure weapon. Even cosmos gods can use it. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. In the future, you will have to accompany me for a very long time. The spear let out a cry. Being a secret treasure weapon, it naturally had a spirit. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. The feeling of using the spear once again made him happy. He then concentrated. It is time to break through to the Unity Realm. Chapter 1025. On the floating great rock surrounded by the spatial turbulence, Dongbo Shuang was completely focused. With the treasures given by Old Mother Ying Shan and Marquis Ardent Fire to nourish his bloodline, the originally thin void bloodline had become much thicker. But it was still at the thin level. Nonetheless, Dongbo Shuang's realm was extremely high, and he was able to rapidly stimulate the void bloodline hibernating in his body. The void bloodline was stimulated on a deeper level. At that moment, it caused every particle in his body to transform. This was a direct breakthrough from the origin birth realm to the unity realm. As the level of his body rapidly rose, it was natural for him to frantically absorb the surrounding world energy. The Void God Pagoda was specifically used for cultivation, and it had formed a surging maelstrom black hole within. The surging world energy was gushing out from the maelstrom black hole and being absorbed by Shui Ying's body. After a moment, his body stepped into the unity realm. I can cultivate the Southern Cloud Sacred Body now. Dongbo Shuang revealed a joyous look. The Southern Cloud Sacred Body was a supplementary body cultivation technique that came with its Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. Previously, he did not dare to cultivate it because he would have to step into the unity realm if he wanted to. Hua hua hua. With a wave of his hand, a pile of deep green soil was placed on the great rock in front of him. Dongbo Shuang displayed the Southern Cloud Sacred Body cultivation technique. The moment it was activated, this deep green soil began emitting many green light spots that entered the body of Dongbo Shuang. This Southern Cloud Sacred Body was the apex body cultivation technique even in the 6 great ancient nations. Its only flaw was that it was too extravagant. Absorbing the essence of many precious materials into his body would allow him to refine his body like a secret treasure weapon. Furthermore, it was relatively easier to refine a secret treasure weapon. His body would implicate his soul, and he had to be more careful during cultivation. The materials required were more stringent, and the price would naturally be higher. When I become stronger in the future, I'll still have to rely on myself to earn cosmos crystals. Relying on the gifts from Marquis Ardent Fire and Old Mother Ying Shan is far from enough. Dongbo Shuang understood this point. Marquis Ardent Fire was merely an ordinary primal chaos giant. How many treasures could he get? Old Mother Ying Shan had many treasures, but how many could she give to her juniors? He still had to rely on himself. Naturally, it was sufficient to rely on the help from the Ying Shan clan during the initial phase. This was the benefit of having a clan. For those without any background, they had to desperately obtain resources when they were weak. Without resources, the difficulty of cultivation would increase by 100 or even 1,000 times. For example, cultivating the laws and profound mystery system was extremely difficult. Half a month later, Dongbo Shuang exited the Void God Pagoda and looked up. Snowflakes were falling from the sky. It's snowing? Dongbo Shuang was shocked. What? Tianyi looked at her young master in shock. The aura emitted by this handsome young man was already at the Unity Realm. Unity Realm? 8,000 years, just 8,000 years? Tianyi did not dare believe it. To void gods, 8,000 years was equivalent to a nap. It's been a long time since I've accompanied my mother. Elder Tian, let's go. Dongbo Shuang said. Sigh. Tianyi hastily replied. The 2 black stream cloud wolves beside her were also somewhat stunned, but they hurriedly followed. Wang. The array that enveloped the huge marquisdom also sensed the aura of Dongbo Shuang. The array spirit immediately reported this news to Marquis Ardent Fire. Marquis Ardent Fire sat under a pavilion by the lake. He was drinking by himself. Snowflakes were falling. Grandpa Marquis. A girl respectfully greeted. How is the matter regarding the secret treasure weapon? Marquis Ardent Fire indifferently asked. Have you been scammed? Previously, when he learned that Snow Eagle had spent 10 million cosmos crystals to purchase a secret treasure, he immediately thought that he had been scammed. Secret treasures that were qualified to be called secret treasures would usually cost at least 10 million cosmos crystals. How could a brat who was just 8,000 years old know about secret treasures? Marquis Ardent Fire became furious at that moment. He felt that someone might be so daring as to covet the cosmos crystals owned by Snow Eagle. That was why he set up a scheme to scam the other party. But knowing that it was a shop owned by a disciple from the Celestial Ying clan, Celestial Ying Flowing Jade, Marquis Ardent Fire was not in a rush to act. Instead, he ordered someone to investigate the matter thoroughly. The girl respectfully explained, that weapon is a spear. It was discovered by a few Unity Realm experts 15 years ago when they were exploring historical remains. They had even killed each other. After that, they returned to the city and sold that spear to the Celestial Ying Flowing Jade shop for 3 million cosmos crystals. At that time, they were even assassinated by their companions who were fortunate enough to survive. At that time, the Ardent Fire Army from our Marquisdom had even sent troops to capture and interrogate them. Marquis Ardent Fire relaxed his eyebrows when he heard that. The shops in the treasured goods market were extremely stingy. They were willing to spend 3 million cosmos crystals to purchase it. Yingshan Snow Eagle had spent 10 million cosmos crystals to purchase it, and he did not lose much. As long as it was not a scheme, Marquis Ardent Fire would not interfere. The body of the spear is extraordinary. It's a pity that the original spearhead is missing, and it is a new spearhead. The girl said, that is why it is sold at such a price. Prince Snow Eagle should not suffer a loss. Amen. Marquis Ardent Fire nodded. Also, the guest of Pavilion Master Chun Yufeng who had a conflict with Prince Snow Eagle on the street has been investigated. The girl said, he is called Chen Gan Shui. He isn't famous and is only doing some shady business. Marquis Ardent Fire softly nodded. Being the biggest money-squandering establishment, the Misty Cloud Pavilion would naturally have some transactions that were not regulated by the law. Continue watching. Marquis Ardent Fire coldly ordered. He was the person with the highest authority in the Ardent Fire City. Some experts with unique origins would usually send someone to watch over them. Yes. The girl respectfully acknowledged. Marquis Ardent Fire picked up his wine cup and drank another cup. Suddenly his expression changed. Master, Prince Snow Eagle has broken through and reached the Unity Realm. A voice directly sounded by his ears. Oh. Marquis Ardent Fire suddenly stood up, causing the girl by the side to be startled as she looked at her grandpa Marquis. Unity Realm? He has stepped into the Unity Realm? Marquis Ardent Fire was both startled and delighted. He excitedly muttered to himself, it has just been 8,000 years. He has reached the Unity Realm just 8,000 years after being born. This speed was too terrifying. Under normal circumstances, it was normal for those who were born at the Origin Birth Realm to reach the Unity Realm after spending 10 million years. Old Ancestor is right. The eyes of Marquis Ardent Fire were emitting light. He was incomparably excited. This brat Snow Eagle has been forced to be born prematurely. But his potential is still huge and it is possible for him to be excavated. Those bloodline nurturing treasures were truly the right thing to do. Even if it was a normal nurturing, this brat Snow Eagle should have been in the womb for several centuries or more than 1,000 years, and he should be at the Unity Realm when he is born. Now he has spent a little more time, but it is merely 10 times more time. He has reached the Unity Realm in 8,000 years. Marquis Ardent Fire was very satisfied. In the history of the Southern Cloud Nation, the number of those who were born at the Unity Realm could be counted with one's fingers. All of them had easily reached the Primal Chaos Realm. There were even 2 who became conferred kings. Being born prematurely and reaching the Unity Realm in 8,000 years, it was merely 10 times longer than reaching the Unity Realm in 1,000 years. After all, being born prematurely has some influence. Marquis Ardent Fire could not help but grin, but the influence isn't too great. Aha, it seems that my Ardent Fire Marquisdom will have another Primal Chaos expert. Even though by then Dongbo Shuiying would definitely become a conferred Marquis and establish a Marquisdom, the relationship between him and Marquis Ardent Fire could not be changed. After all, Dongbo Shuiying was considered part of the lineage of Marquis Ardent Fire. Strictly speaking, Marquis Ardent Fire was his grandfather. I have to inform Old Ancestor immediately. Marquis Ardent Fire immediately transmitted a message to Old Mother Ying Shan. Chapter 1026. Dongbui Shuiying was still accompanying his mother, Rong Xinglan, and his sister. They were chatting as they ate. Rong Xinglan was delighted too because her son had entered closed-door cultivation for more than 6,000 years. It had been a long time since she saw her son. Her current status was noble. Naturally, with a single order, the female attendants brought out all sorts of delicacies. Even though cultivation is important, my son should not work too hard. Rong Xinglan chuckled. Mother might not know much, but she has read many books over the years. She knows that cultivating the heart is important too. If one wants to have a bright future, one has to cultivate the heart. My son is ultimately lacking in experience. Your son understands. Dongbui Shuiying obediently answered. Rong Xinglan's smile became more radiant. She liked her son, yet she did not dare to disturb him for fear of affecting his future. She could only watch from the side. But now her identity was different. She had many treasures and relied on the bloodline cultivation system to easily become a true god. Without the great limit of her lifespan, she was naturally calmer. Snow Eagle. A voice reverberated in the surroundings. Rong Xinglan and Ying Shanxi were startled. Who dared to barge into the residence of Snow Eagle? Dongbui Shuiying turned over too. One could see two figures flying down from midair. One was naturally Marquis Ardent Fire. He was obediently standing behind an old granny. That old granny was currently smiling at Dongbui Shuiying. Marquis Ardent Fire roared, "Why aren't you greeting old ancestor?" Snow Eagle greets old ancestor. Dongbui Shuiying immediately stood up and bowed. Rong Xinglan and Ying Shanxi were greatly startled when they heard that. There was only one person in the entire Ying Shan clan who was qualified to be called Old Ancestor, and that was the famous Old Mother Ying Shan across the entire southern Cloud Nation. The two of them immediately stood up from their chairs and knelt by the side. Stand up. Old Mother Ying Shan waved her hand, causing Rong Xinglan and Ying Shanxiu to stand up. Old Mother Ying Shan then walked to a stool by the side and sat down. Marquis Ardent Fire stood by her side. Old Mother Ying Shan then carefully observed Dongbui Shuiying. This little fellow that looked like a teenager, he was still very young but he was already at the Unity Realm. Huolai did not manage a marquisdom properly, causing you to be born prematurely. Old Mother Ying Shan chuckled. Fortunately, you reached the Unity Realm in 8,000 years. Although there are some effects of being born early, the effect isn't too great. Fortunately, we have the treasures that Old Ancestor and Marquis gave us. Dongbui Shuiying said. Those are just external objects. In the end, it's your own extraordinary potential. Old Mother Ying Shan waved her hand, causing a bracelet to fly over. Properly cultivate. With your talent, it isn't hard for you to reach the primal chaos realm. I hope that one day the king will personally bestow upon you the title of king. If you want to be conferred the title of king, just relying on your bloodline isn't enough. You also need to cultivate your mind, temper yourself, and accumulate your strength. Marquis Ardent Fire sighed as he listened. Conferred kingship? One had to pass the 9th level of the Divine Yuan Palace to be qualified to be conferred the title of king. Old Mother Ying Shan nodded. She was merely raising a high request. She felt that it should not be a problem for her to reach the primal chaos realm. At most, she would have to spend a little more time. As for being conferred the title of king, it was truly difficult. The requirements for one's mental state were also extremely high. No matter how noble one's bloodline was, it had nothing to do with one's mental state. Ultimately, one had to temper himself. It wasn't easy for Dongbui Shuiying to reach the My Heart as the World realm in his previous life. Snow Eagle will naturally work hard. Dongbui Shuiying nodded. He received the wristband and immediately refined it. After inspecting it, his heart could not help but leap. There was a small mountain of cosmos crystals. With a sweep of his consciousness, he ascertained that there were a total of 50 million cosmos crystals. Such a huge sum. Properly cultivate. Also, cosmos crystals are precious. In the future, you have to be prudent when purchasing treasures. Marquis Ardent Fire also threw over a storage wristband. Dongbui Shuiying naturally received it. Inspecting it, he found that there were 8 million cosmos crystals within. Adding up, Marquis Ardent Fire had given him a total of 15 million cosmos crystals. To Marquis Ardent Fire, this was a huge burden. Dongbui Shuiying naturally accepted it. As a disciple of the Ying Shan clan, he was willing to accept this benefit. In the future he would also bear the responsibility. This was also what Old Mother Yingshan and Marquis Ardent Fire were looking forward to. What? Old Mother Yingshan has such luck? Of her descendants, there is one who reached the Unity Realm in just 8,000 years? Teacher, I've heard that the child called Snow Eagle was forced to be born prematurely after just 15 years in the womb. The Yingshan clan immediately gave a large amount of bloodline-nourishing treasures to that little fellow, allowing him to reach the Unity Realm in just 8,000 years. The Yingshan clan will have another marquis in the future. That granny from the Yingshan clan should be smiling till her mouth is crooked. The various superpowers in the southern cloud nation soon learned of this news. They had also memorized the name Yingshan Snow Eagle, because this name was destined to become a king. And within the Ardent Fire City, Chanyu Yanzhen, who had always been hiding in the residence arranged by her son, was even more stunned when she heard the news. What? The son of that lowly servant reached the Unity Realm in just 8,000 years? He will almost certainly become a conferred marquis in the future? What should I do? What should I do? Will he bear a grudge and kill me after becoming a conferred marquis? Amidst the vast rolling black clouds, there was a vague ancient palace. Within the palace, a tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn sat cross-legged there. The surface of his body was surrounded by a cold black aura. That little fellow called Yingshan Snow Eagle you mentioned, is he a disciple of the Yingshan clan's Ardent Fire Marquisdom? The tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn said with a deep voice. His pair of blood eyes looked downwards. Teacher, this disciple will not be mistaken. Strictly speaking, Yingshan Snow Eagle is the son of the second son of Marquis Ardent Fire, Yingshan Lai Hu. A red-robed male respectfully answered. Marquis Ardent Fire? The tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn said with a deep voice. Who would have thought that he would be so lucky? The red-robed male obediently did not dare to say anything. He was clear how deep the hatred between his teacher and Marquis Ardent Fire was. He was also responsible for collecting all intelligence regarding Marquis Ardent Fire. Within the Ardent Fire City, within the Misty Cloud Pavilion. The Misty Cloud Pavilion was vast. It was shrouded in clouds, making it seem like a land of dreams. In one of the more secluded mansions. Who would have thought that Prince Snow Eagle has reached the Unity Realm in just 8,000 years? The plump male sat there, allowing the beauties beside him to serve him and feed him fruits. His expression was gloomy. He had never given up. He had always wanted to snatch that girl called Yenyu into his hands. That was the guiding medicine that he had been dreaming of. Chun Yufeng, that trash. The plump male gritted his teeth. Chun Yufeng had previously agreed to think of a way. But after he followed Dongbua Shuiying and broke through to the Unity Realm, Chun Yufeng immediately rejected the idea. He expressed that he did not dare to participate. After all, how could he offend an existence who would definitely become a conferred marquis in the future? Chun Yufeng was not that foolish. Amen? The plump male was suddenly stunned. Everyone retreat. The plump male stood up. Yes. The surrounding beauties obediently retreated. The plump male rapidly entered the meditation room of this residence. The meditation room was very safe, and it isolated any external scouting. The plump male was even carrying treasures that would affect the scouting. Wang. At that moment, an illusory figure appeared by the side of the plump male. It was a tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn shrouded in black fog. Qian Gan Shui greets master. The plump male immediately knelt down. He prostrated himself on the ground with great respect. Do you know of Yingshan Snow Eagle? That disciple from the Yingshan clan who reached the Unity Realm at the age of 8,000? The tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn said with a cold voice. I know. The plump male immediately answered. I'll allow you to mobilize the manpower in the surrounding 12 cities. You can use all the cosmos crystals in your hands to kill that Yingshan Snow Eagle with the fastest speed. The tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn coldly said. Kill Yingshan Snow Eagle? The plump male was slightly startled. The tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn looked down at him. The plump male replied, Yes, yes. Master, please be rest assured. I'll definitely do my best. Don't disappoint me. Otherwise, you know the consequences. The voice of the tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn was calm, yet it made the plump male tremble uncontrollably. That was terror, terror that originated from the bottom of his heart. Yes, yes, I'll definitely kill him. The plump male added. Marquis Ardent Fire. The blood-colored eyes of the tall and sturdy figure with a black curved horn were filled with dense killing intent. Since I can't kill you, I'll eliminate the future primal chaos experts from your marquisdom first. You will definitely be so angry that you will go mad, ha. That figure gradually dissipated. Only then did the plump male stand up. He gulped and suppressed the anxiety in his heart. He began thinking rapidly. He knew it was impossible for him to go against his master. The consequences of going against his master made him tremble in fear. Fortunately, that Ying Shan Snow Eagle has just reached the Unity Realm. Currently, he should only have the strength of a God Yuan Palace first or second level expert. He isn't worth mentioning. The only troublesome thing is that the Ardent Fire Marquisdom will definitely do its best to protect him. The plump male gritted his teeth. Master has allowed me to mobilize the manpower in the surrounding 12 cities. I can even use this batch of money? I have to think of a foolproof method. It is fine if I don't act, but the moment I act, I must not give him a chance. If that Snow Eagle Prince doesn't die, I'll die. Chapter 1027. For the sake of survival, the fat man Chen Shui began to prepare his assassination plan. He even spared no expense in spending cosmos crystals to make all sorts of preparations, buying poison, and even inviting assassins from the Black Devil Great Lake. His preparations became more and more thorough, and he even prepared several assassination plans. But what made him dumbfounded was, ever since that little Prince Snow Eagle from the Ardent Fire Marquisdom bought that secret treasure spear and returned to the Marquisdom, he had not come out at all. I don't believe it. He's just a little guy who was just born not long ago. His temperament is still unsettled. How can he calm down and cultivate? He will definitely come out again. Chen Shui anxiously waited. 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years, Chen was stunned. The master, behind him, was equally shocked. In their opinion, no matter how noble one's bloodline was, one's temperament still needed to be tempered before it would gradually become more and more extraordinary. Only then would one be able to calm down and go into seclusion for hundreds of thousands or even millions of years. How could there be such a young fellow in seclusion for such a long time? Master, he's not coming out, what do we do? Chen Shui anxiously reported to his master. Wait, could it be that your patience is inferior to that of a little fellow? Yes. Chen Shui also let out a breath of relief. His master was wise and did not force him to enter the manor to assassinate him. After all, the Marquis's mansion was heavily guarded. Even if his master wanted to enter, he would probably fail. Marquis Ardent Fire and his mother Rong Xinglan had also advised Dongbu Shuiying that cultivating the heart was important, and there was no need for him to bury himself in cultivation. Although Dongbu Shuiying agreed verbally, in reality, he had the appearance of a cultivation maniac. Each time he went into closed-door cultivation, it would last for hundreds of thousands of years or even millions of years. Just a few days after he came out, he would immediately go back into closed-door cultivation. There was no other way. In the end, Dongbu Shuiying was not a young fellow. He was the reincarnation of his true spirit, and his mental state had reached the my heart as the world level. Moreover, he was a great expert who had created 2 9th-level techniques in the most difficult system of laws and profound mysteries. With his temperament, it was very easy for him to go into seclusion for 10 billion years at a time. As for tempering one's character, was there going to be another love-hate entanglement? Inconsolable grief to temper his so-called temperament? Dongbu Shuiying was not in the mood for that. Fortunately, there were some cultivation maniacs among the countless cultivators, so he could only pretend to be one of them. In the blink of an eye, 5 million years had passed. Ardent Fire Marquisdom within the residence of Snow Eagle Prince. Rumble, the door of the Void Divine Pagoda opened. A handsome young man in white walked out. It was drizzling, but when the young man in white walked out, the rain naturally avoided him when it was 1 foot away from him. Young master. Young master. The guards and servants who were standing guard outside hurriedly greeted respectfully. Very soon the entire mansion became lively. Tian Yiji, the 2 Blackstream Cloud Wolves, and the 9 personal guards rushed over as well. By the time they arrived, Dongbu Shuiying had already arrived at a nearby lake. There was a pavilion by the side of the lake. There was a praying mat placed within the pavilion. Dongbu Shuiying sat cross-legged on it. By the side, his female attendant Yan Yu was respectfully placing the wine on the table. She was also helping to warm up the wine flask. Yan Yu curiously looked at her young master. Young master's birth is extraordinary, but I've never seen him like any girls. He has also never gone to the Misty Cloud Pavilion to enjoy himself. He treats others peacefully and has always been cultivating. No wonder. No wonder some cultivators are so heaven-defying. My birth can't be compared to that of young master, yet I still love to play and enjoy myself. Yet young master is so hard-working. Yen Yu thought. Oh. Dongbo Shui-ing extended his right hand. A spear appeared in his hand. He placed it flat on his knees. Being a secret treasure weapon, just the tyrannical aura contained within the spearhead made the female attendant Yen Yu feel stifled. Oh. A formless wave emanated from the spear. It was as though a stone had been thrown into a calm lake, creating countless ripples. The formless wave emanating from the spear was extremely subtle. It easily permeated the surrounding void. The void was completely controlled. In the distance, Tian Yiji, the Black Stream Cloud Wolf, and his personal guards were all rushing over. Tian Yiji was a 5th-stage expert in the Divine Yuan Palace and could even teleport. Even with his acute perception of the void, he didn't realize that the surrounding void was being controlled. Dongbo Shuiying sat cross-legged. He was like a spider controlling a spider web. The surrounding void was being controlled. In fact, the void around him was beginning to distort. The distortions were very minute. It was hard to detect them even when they were right in front of one's eyes. Only when one's body touched them would one feel something special. Hua hua hua, countless raindrops scattered down. Numerous tiny spatial distortions shifted the raindrops from one location to several kilometers away. The raindrops that were several kilometers away were shifted to another location. Countless raindrops were shifted due to the spatial distortions. However, even though the raindrops were shifted, they were connected seamlessly. It was as though none of the raindrops had shifted. The rain continued to fall. Prince Tian Yiji, the 2 Blackstream Cloud Wolves, and the 9 personal guards came to the side of the pavilion. As Dongbo Shuiying was controlling the void to avoid them, Tian Yiji and the others did not notice him even though they were several meters away. If other primal chaos existences were to discover this, they would be dumbfounded. Dongbo Shuiying held onto a cup of wine and continued to control the spatial distortions. He was still manipulating the countless minute distortions in the void. The more he manipulated, the more satisfied he was. Buying this spear is really worth it. These 5 million years, Dongbo Shuiying was also concentrating on cultivating. Because the Tao of Void of the 2 origin worlds was relatively similar, he had reached the primal chaos realm not long ago in terms of the laws and profound mystery system. As for the bloodline breakthrough, he could have reached the primal chaos realm a long time ago. It's just that this breakthrough was too fast. No matter how talented he was, he had to be within the normal category of a genius. Even though he remained at the Unity realm on the surface, he had never stopped researching and comprehending the void. As his realm increased, he began researching this spear. Probing the spear body, it was like seeing a distorted black maelstrom staircase. Every level of the staircase was intersecting with different voids. Dongbo Shuiying cultivated the opposite Tao. If he were the core of this maelstrom, he could influence the surrounding chaotic void. And this spear body originally contained such a technique. Even though it lacked the spearhead, causing the profound mysteries contained within this secret treasure to be lacking, it was sufficient for Dongbo Shuiying. With his deep foundation, he could comprehend a domain control technique from within. The moment he did so, he was qualified to be considered a God Yuan Palace 7th level technique. More importantly, if he relied on the spear body to execute it, even though he had yet to comprehend many things, it would be taxing for him to execute it. But by relying on the spear body to execute it, its power would explode, and it could be considered a God Yuan Palace 8th level technique. An 8th level domain technique. More importantly, the technique contained within this spear body is at the Cosmos God level. Currently, I have merely seen through a tiny bit of it. Dongbo Shuiying felt satisfied because the void technique contained within this spear body was of a different direction from the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. It's a pity that I lack the spearhead. It is taxing for me to comprehend it. Dongbo Shuiying sighed inwardly. Within the Void God Pagoda, he could display the violent side of this domain. But at this moment, under the pavilion by the lakeside, he was displaying the most minute aspect of this domain stealthily. The foundation of the realm Heart Great Land is much stronger than the primal chaos void. Over there, only Emperor Jianghu Void Primogenitor and the mysterious Myriad Realm Tavern Master are considered formidable in the Tao of Void. And in the realm Heart Great Land, I have come into contact with the techniques left behind by two terrifying experts in this small place called Southern Cloud Nation. Dongbo Shuiying sighed inwardly. One was created by Southern Cloud King, and the other was the original Tao of Void expert who refined this spear. Keep. With a thought, Dongbo Shuiying moved. The domain was completely kept. The rain continued falling down just like before. Tian Ji, the female attendant Yenyu, and the protectors did not notice it at all. Dongbo Shuiying was not worried about being discovered. Even Marquis Ardent Fire would have to rely on his own law domain before he could detect it. Otherwise, given how sensitive Marquis Ardent Fire was towards the void, it was impossible for him to detect it from a long distance. After all, strictly speaking, Dongbo Shuiying was currently a great expert, not any weaker than Marquis Ardent Fire. Only when they fought would they know who was stronger. That you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.